is the final score. We could have added the Jets to that list, but they lost to the Steelers today, 45-24. Chuck Noll is 9-0 in his career against the Jets, so they'll have to wait a while. Good afternoon. I'm Pat Summerall. Washington and Denver. They're both in the playoffs. Denver, the champion. The Redskins, definitely the host of the wild card game in the NFC. With me, of course, is John Madden, and you go in with those thoughts and those credentials about both of them already being in the playoffs. What about Washington? What do they really have at stake?
Well, you know, we talked to Joe Gibbs last night. He was mad. And, of course, they lost to the Giants last Sunday. We talked to him Friday night. Now, that's a long time to hold a mad. And he's held it that long. And the way you can tell he was mad, he said, I want to see what we do tomorrow. And that's the way a coach talks when he's still upset. And I think what he wants is he wants to see how they're going to bounce back today. I think he hopes that they bounce back in a big way. He says, because we'll probably be the wild card team. He said, but we don't want to be going downhill as we go into this game. He said, we want to be peaking because we know one thing, that the team that we have to play in the wild card is going to peak because they have to win the next two to get in the wild card. And that makes sense to me. I've always felt that the team that is playing best at the time, the team that is peaking, is a team that will go the farthest in the playoffs.
John, what about Denver? They've won the AFC West. Now they're playing for the home field advantage throughout the playoffs. How do they approach this game?
I think Dan Reeves was a little less mad than Joe Gibbs, but he was mad too. And he says we have to take over control again. He said last week against the Chiefs, we didn't have control of that game. By control, he meant field position. He said we can't give these Redskins a short field. In other words, we can't have the turnovers the way we did last week. He said our defense has to control their offense. We can't give them the big play. And then on offense, we have to be able to run. We have to get the running game going. We have to throw that short passing game, that ball control. So what he wants to do is they lost control last week against the Chiefs. He wants to get it back here today against the Redskins.
Steve Cox will kick off for the Redskins. Ken Bell and Gene Lang back deep for the Broncos. Watching Cox in the warm-up, he was kicking him out of the end zone. Of course, we are a mile high, and the ball does go a little bit further. The shot goes back deep into the end zone, almost out. Gene Lang bounces it, downs it, and they'll start from the 20. John Elway will. He'll face a Redskin defense that is a four-man front. Charles Mann, Butts, Darrell Grant, and Dexter Manley. Look for him to have a big day. Daniels, Olkowitz, and Millot, the linebackers. And the secondary, Green and Morrison this week, the cornerbacks. And the safety men, Jordan and Dean. Winder and Wilhite, and Elway back to throw on first down. Batted down. The big paw of Dave Butts got up there to knock it away. The Denver offense. Elway the quarterback. Winder and Wilhite the runners. Vance Johnson and Steve Watson start wide. Up front, Studdard, Bishop, Brian Cooper, Lanier, and Joey Hackett starting at tight end in place of Clarence Kay. Orson Mobley, number 89, is now splitting out wide to the right. And we'll see a lot of him today. Two wide receivers left. The handoff to Wilhite. To Winder. With Wilhite blocking. A gain of 6. Curtis Jordan. Alvin Walton, by the way, is the other safety man for the Redskins. 3rd and 4. And now the Skins make their wholesale changes on what they believe to be a passing down. Winder comes out. Wilhite remains as the lone running back. Sampson comes in, and they go with 4 wide receivers. Elway wanted to make sure everybody was picked up. Incomplete, intended for Vance Johnson. Everybody was not picked up.
I'll tell you, here's the pressure. Here's the first thing that we see as we see the blitz coming from the outside. One safety coming to stun in the middle. No one picked up the safety blitz. That was Todd Bowles, who plays a safety and a linebacker. They didn't pick that up. They did have some guys free down the field, though, that Elway didn't see.
Mike Horan, the 3rd Bronco punter of this year, back to kick to newly activated number 80, Eric Yarber for the Redskins. They lost both their kick returners last week in that defeat against the Giants. Some pressure on Horan. He gets off a good left-footed kick. Yarber signal fair catch. Steve Wilson. 47-yard punt. No return, and that'll get it done. There's the Redskin quarterback, Jay Schrader, in the defense he'll be facing. And who knows how it'll line up. Rulon Jones, Cragen, and Townsend normally up front in the 3. Ryan Mecklenburg, Ricky Hundley, and Jackson, the linebackers. Wright and Harden, the cornerbacks. Dennis Smith and Steve Foley, the safety men. But they do a lot of shuffling and changing. Anthony Jones and Donnie Warren line up on the right side. They start with 2 tight ends. Hand off George Rogers behind the line of scrimmage as he hit by Ricky Hundley. He was the first man there, and a gain of 1. The Redskin offense, Schrader the quarterback. Rogers will be the lone setback. Monk and Clark wide. Warren and Anthony Jones start. Jacoby McKenzie in place of Russ Grimm. Bostic, Thielman, and Mark May. Dan Reeves over on the sideline, talking to his offensive unit. Second down. Rogers again. Mike Harden, the first man there, with Hundley again. And Rogers only got 2. He'll go out, and Bryant will come in.
What the Redskins are trying to do is get back into 2 tight ends. That time they had Anthony Jones in the backfield along with Rogers, and made an I formation. He was leading, but he didn't block anyone. And I know what the Redskins want to do. They want to get back in here and pound at these guys, and they have an idea, but the players aren't carrying it out.
Ricky Sanders this time split out wide to the left. Monk in the slot to the right. Bryant goes in motion. Warren stays in the block. Schrader out of the pocket. Pursued by Broncos. Fires in the direction of Art Monk. But there were Broncos all over Jay Schrader. Freddie Gilbert was the leader of the pack along with Rulon Jones.
You know, the interesting thing about this start, Pat, it's the same thing that happened last week. When they first started going back to pass against the Giants, they got big pressure. Here they started again. And the same thing happened to the Broncos against Kansas City, big pressure. And, of course, the Redskins had that blitz. So they're just starting up where they ended up last week.
Maybe that's what they were talking about when they said we got to get back on positive track. Cox back to punt, standing at his own 15. Wilhite will return for Denver. He's got room. Handle it. You heard okay. Gerald Wilhite gets outside the 35. Sean Burks down to make the tackle. A punt of 45 yards, a return of 12. So they net 33. 0-0 at Mile High Stadium.
Would you like a gift wrap?
Sure, if it's not too much trouble.
Would you like the red ribbon or the green?
The red.
Sir, is there some small errand you might run while we finish this up? We're running just a teensy bit behind.
What time should I come back?
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday?
Well, we're running just a teensy bit behind.
At least one thing will always go right this holiday season. Andre Champagne.
Christmas is this Thursday.
Well, we're running just a teensy bit behind.
Andre Champagne. What would the holidays be without it?
The art of investment and financial security requires painstaking preparation, bold strokes influenced by a mastery of expertise, a creative approach to IRAs, annuities, and innovative forms of insurance. As one of the strongest diversified financial institutions, we have the capabilities to turn the business of investment into an art. The Travelers. Have you looked under the Travelers umbrella lately?
As the holidays come around, it's nice to know that even if something breaks, it won't break you if you shop with the American Express card. Because until December 31st, we will extend the free repair period of the manufacturer's warranty. In fact, we'll double it, up to an extra year. Just in case the things you buy aren't all that they're cracked up to be. But be sure to register your purchases with Buyer's Assurance and use the American Express card.
Jay Schrader, the Redskins' outstanding young quarterback. And he really does seem to be very much in command of himself and the whole concept of what they're trying to do.
He really is an impressive guy for only, right now, he started for 1 year. And as you say, he seems to have control of the whole deal.
1st and 10 Broncos at their own 35. Elway back to throw. Watson, and yes, Morrison, the defender, a gain of 8.
I'll tell you, this Steve Watson is a guy that's been catching passes for 8 years for this Bronco team. He's always been the big guy, the guy that always gets open, the possession guy, the guy that 3rd down pass, you need the 1st down, you need the touchdown. They've been looking to him for a long time.
Gene Lang now in the backfield with Winder. Orson Mobley split wide to the left. Elway to Lang. Winder, sorry. Back close to a 1st down, stopped by Rich Millott. That's going to be, I believe, close enough to measure.
You know, one of the things, Pat, since the Broncos don't have Clarence Kay in there, they're using 2 tight ends. One is Joey Hackett, number 85, who we see coming in now, and he's going to be the blocker. Then when they want to run or pass, then they put Orson Mobley in 89. Now they have both of them in at this time. But they're trying to use Mobley, splitting him out, and trying to get the strong safety out of there so they can run.
On the other side, they have Rimsberg and Studdard together. Elway quarterback sneak. I think the Redskins jumped off sides. He got the 1st down in any case.
Of course, that was a short yardage play, so then they had 3 tight ends in on short yardage. But on regular downs, they're either putting Hackett in or Mobley.
Now, since Rimsberg was the tight end, Studdard has to come out for a play. Is that right?
Yeah, right. Studdard became the tight end. So then Studdard has to go out.
1st down.
And Rimsberg has to stay at least 1 play.
Rimsberg has to play 1 more play.
Elway looking over to the sideline for the signals. All the plays are called from over there. Watson goes wide to the left. Johnson is split down wide to the right. Winder is the lone setback. A couple for Sammy Winder. Charles Mann. You know, Dan Reeves was saying to us yesterday, you hear all, there's Studdard back in, yes. Was saying you hear the publicity, the ballyhoo is about Manley. He said he was more impressed with Charles Mann.
Yeah, and he was impressed with the speed of Charles Mann. He says, he said he watched him on film. He said he never heard much about Mann. He said, but the more you watch, the more you realize that this guy is some pass rusher.
Will Height is behind Elway this time. It's Johnson on the move. Mann is loose. The ball is loose. The Broncos come up with it. Studdard, I believe, made the recovery. Almost looked like Mann kicked that ball out of Elway's
I was going to say that. That was Charles Mann on the rush there. He'll be going against Ken Lanier, but it looked like he did kick the ball out of there. Look, he's coming to the top left of the screen, number 71. Billy Bryant tries to get him. I think he stuck that left foot out there and just popped it out. Hey, the Broncos got a big break there in recovering.
It'll be 3rd and 20. The Broncos from their own 40. Mark Jackson this time split wide to the right. Elway out of the shotgun. Redskins chasing. Mann the closest. Elway. Intended Mobley. Incomplete. Barry Wilburn was the closest Redskin defender.
See, the side judge down there threw his hat. That means one of the receivers went out of bounds. And I think that was number 80, Mark Jackson, went out of bounds. So what that is saying, when he goes out of bounds, yeah, you can see him right here, top of the screen. He was out of bounds. Now, he can come back in to block, but he can't come back in to catch the ball. Of course, the ball was thrown to Mobley. See there, he's out of bounds right there. So the official throws a hat. He can't come back in and be a receiver. He can come back in and block, but he can't come back in and clip. I think he did.
I think so, too. Horan back to kick. Eric Yarber back deep for Washington. They're trying to set up a return. This time it's another good kick. Yarber came out of the pack, almost broke it. Got outside the 20, about the 22. That punt was up there for 5 seconds. 47-yarder. Yarber brought it back 10. Nothing still.
Welcome to the auto show.
We need an inexpensive,
dependable
first car. See the Yugo. I need a tough little car. See the Yugo. We need a safe,
economical
second car. Oh, see the Yugo.
For most of the reasons you need a car, the Yugo is all the car you need.
Wow, $39.90.
That's right. The 87 Yugo GV is still only $39.90. Everybody needs a Yugo sometime. Yugo, $39.90.
The game that counts, the pressure mounts, the kickoff's almost here. And now all the way! Now you're talking football. Now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times. And Stroh's is spoken here.
Stroh's, fire brewed for smooth, consistent taste.
Now you're talking Stroh's. Now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times. And Stroh's is spoken here.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
We got Billy just what he wanted. The Radio Shack 4x4 off-roader. Look at it take those hills. And Terry got the off-road champ. Look at her go. And guess what Mom got?
Lunch is ready.
And me, I'm the flashy type. Always wanted a Ferrari.
Radio-controlled toys for kids of all ages from $11.95. Only at Radio Shack.
8:47 left in the first quarter at Mile High Stadium. It's 0-0. Some of the most avid fans in all of football. 120 consecutive sellouts here at Mile High Stadium for the Broncos.
I know how avid they are. I've been on that other sideline many years. I'll tell you, they didn't like the Raiders. And they let you know about it.
They didn't hold back, huh?
No.
First and 10. Terry Orr. Now in the game, that was Anthony Jones moving. Schrader fake. Intended Monk. Incomplete. Crossing. Rulon Jones applied some pressure. So did Mecklenburg.
You know, it's a funny thing. You take a team like the Redskins that had everything going, had a lot of confidence. The Broncos did too, and they both lose a game, and you don't just get it back that easily. I mean, I think that in the second half, I think the Redskins struggled last week trying to get it back. I have the feeling here in the first quarter of this game, they're still struggling trying to get it back.
Again, they go with those two tight ends side by side to Schrader's left. And the handoff is to George Rogers. Rogers cuts back. Comes close to a first down. Maybe got 9. Tony Lilly made the stop.
Well, that's the type of thing that they wanted to get back. You know, some power running. What they did this time, they had the two tight ends on the left side. They're going to run to the left. Now, they're just going to block down because R.C. Thielman and Mark May, you see them 69 and 73. They're pulling from the right side to lead them. So you had the two tight ends blocking down at the point. Then you had Mark May and Thielman, the offside, pulling to lead Rogers.
Now the Redskins send in Russ Grimm, McQuaid, McKenzie. Their biggest guys. What do they call this?
They call it heavy jumbo. Their short yardage thing used to be called jumbo. Now with these guys, they got tons of guy in there. All the biggest guys in the team, they put them in. See McQuaid, 60. He's a tight end. McKenzie's the other tight end. They're guards and tackles. Put in all their offensive linemen, big tight ends. Other than Schrader and Rogers, who will carry the ball, the smallest guy is Warren at 250.
Third and short. Heavy jumbo. Schrader, long count, hoping the Broncos will jump. They don't. He rolls out, and he's got some room. Schrader's got the first down, out of bounds, in front of the Redskin bench. at the 48-yard line, chased down by Ricky Hundley. Schrader almost fell down as he rolled out.
What he did is, look, he got everything going this way. He faked and then did a naked bootleg out here. Now watch this side come in, and he gets free out there. But as you say, he almost fell down. Watch the fake there. Boom. The corner comes in, and Schrader outruns the outside.
Dennis Smith had to do a quick change of direction, but Schrader picked up 16 and got the Redskin first down. Rogers still the running back. Warren moves. Rogers runs and gets about 8 before Mecklenburg trips him up. Officially, he got 7.
This is the type of thing that Joe Gibbs wanted. You know, to be able to get down there and pound on something. You know, where you don't have to throw, you don't have to let them just come and tee off on you the whole game. Where you can run at them, pound on them, calm that defense down.
He was mad last night. Second down and short. 2.5. Rogers again. And he's got the first down and more. Bounces down to about the Bronco 35 after a gain of 8. Again, it's Tony Lilly on the stop.
Well, he's running right in there behind McKenzie and Jacoby. You see that? He starts in there behind that thing and makes a nice move there. Starts in, bounces out to the left side, and is able to pick up that first down. I'll tell you, I saw him in the hotel last night, George Rogers, and he was a determined guy.
He wasn't smiling.
He said, I'm going to have one tomorrow.
Well, they're going to give him a chance. Schrader quickly outside Clark, who had it, lost it, and took a shot to the head. Dennis Smith on the coverage, and Clark was really hammered.
I tell you, that is a tough thing because he wasn't in a position to accept a hammer. I mean, watch him. He's down, and he's going to get bent backward. Watch him. He has to come down to catch the ball. He gets down. He's down on both knees, drops the ball. Then he gets bent over. You see what I mean? And he already has a pulled hamstring. And I bet you that's where the whole pressure goes, is you get knocked back over that way. In fact, they're checking his ankle there.
Well, he got bent back, so you never know what's got to give. Something does when you make that kind of move, doesn't it? Still Washington, Denver, 0-0, 6:41 left first quarter.
A jellyfish swims faster than that.
Not with a clogged nose like this.
Oh, try this. Sidex, I need help now.
You got it. Hit this when you feel it.
1 second.
With Sinex Vapors, you feel better in 1 second. Plus, it's strong decongestant, keeps you breathing free for hours.
And you're gonna need it for hours.
Whoa!
Sinex, regular or long-lasting. Feeling better is a second away. From Vicks, of course.
Look at that face.
United.
Isn't there a face you'd like to see?
We are temptation.
That'd like to see you.
Give in to temptation.
Why fight it? This winter, United's low fares can take you to more places than any other airline. So give in. Go home to mother.
Who loves you, baby?
Our temptation.
In the Army, we do more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day.
Hey, First Sergeant. Good morning.
Hey, where did you learn about computers?
In the Army.
You were in the Army, too?
Qualify for the GI Bill and the Army College Fund, and you can earn over $25,000 for college.
What you do in the Army?
Airborne.
You used to jump out of airplanes?
His comeback extraordinary, yet his mission to ignite the Niners to the playoffs is unfinished. Joe Montana leads the 49ers against the Patriots tomorrow on CBS Sports.
Gary Clark being helped to the Redskin bench. Obviously a problem with his left ankle, which was bent backwards.
Like I said, he was in that position where when he took that hit, something had to go. And of course, that's a big loss. I mean, Gary Clark had caught 74 passes this year.
Ricky Sanders has taken his place. Hand off Rogers. Counter Trey. Rogers inside the 30, about the 28. Tripped up by Ken Woodard. A gain of 7. That old familiar Redskin play.
But here's the thing that they do. You know, they take this offside, Thielman here, May here, and they're going to lead this way. Rogers takes a little counter step and gets right in behind him. See, now the offside will pull. There they go. Takes a little counter step. In there behind May. Gets that kick out. He's able to get those couple yards.
3rd down and 3. Bryant has replaced Rogers. Slater back to throw. Has to get rid of it in a hurry. But gets it to Kelvin Bryant. And Bryant is out of bounds at the Denver 15. Knocked out by Tony Lilly. A pickup of 14.
He had to get rid of the ball because Ken Woodard, the linebacker, number 52, watch him, is real close to him. He comes free there, so he has to get rid of the ball. And he does the smart thing. He finds Kelvin Bryant, the guy who Woodard just ran by. I don't know if Bryant was supposed to block him or not. But that's the old rule. If the guy doesn't block him, then throw it to him because he should be open.
At the 15 then. Rogers back in. Gary Clark leaving in the wheelchair. They give to Rogers. Rogers down to about the 12. Bryant was in the game. The two of them at the same time. There's Gary Clark.
I'll tell you, there is a tough guy going off the field. And you know that the last place he wants to be sitting is in that chair right now. He's a real competitor. He's played at least half this season with a pulled hamstring. He hasn't been able to practice all week. He just watches, and then every Sunday he's been able to gut it out. You know, it's not always those big guys that are the tough guys. Sometimes the toughest guys are the guys like Gary Clark.
Sanders splits wide to the left this time. Rogers is behind Schrader. 2nd down and 7. Outside of Monk. Monk is hit by Lilly just as soon as he makes the catch. Maybe he got 2 yards out of it. But here is where those Broncos really get tough.
You know, they've always been that. They've always, the closer you get to the goal line, the closer the tougher this Bronco defense is. They've always been that way. That was one of Joe Gibbs' concerns last night. He said, I hope we can move the ball, but the closer we get, the tougher they are. And, of course, there's the architect of this defense, Joe Collier. He's the assistant head coach and the head of the defense.
Clint Didier is in the game for the first time. He's in the slot to the right. Schrader. Down the middle, touchdown to Sanders from 10 yards out.
I'll tell you, that's the way to do it. If you can't pound it in there, get the 3 guys out there. They put Didier in there. He has a broken hand. He missed the last 2 weeks. He runs an outside pattern. And you see Ricky Sanders, who just took Gary Clark's place. He runs the post. Then you see Schrader drill it in there.
And so the Redskins take the lead with 4:18 left in the first quarter. Zendejas to try the extra point. It is not good. Schrader was the holder of the snap. Appeared to be a little bit off mark. We'll look at it.
It looked like Zendejas slipped a little, too.
So the Redskins lead 6-0 with 4:18 left in the first.
Fire brewing. It's more than a way to make Stroh's and Stroh Light. It's a family tradition passed down from one generation.
By itself, sharp, fast. Only the human eye focuses faster. With Minolta Maxim, you even get unexpected shots that would have gotten away. Incredible Maxim system.
Only from the mind of Minolta.
Everybody needs a Yugo sometime.
I bought my Yugo because now I can afford a brand new car.
I think it's fun to drive, and it beats my old carpool.
I like the rack and pinion steering and the front-wheel drive.
We wanted a dependable second car.
And this Yugo's just what we need.
The 87 Yugo GV is still only $39.90. Call 1-800-USA-YUGO for the dealer nearest you.
Everybody needs a Yugo sometime.
Here's Art Monk out here. Here's Didier here. But the guy that catches the ball is Ricky Sanders. Lined up in the backfield, comes up here, makes a real nice move into the post for the touchdown. But they lined him up in the backfield. Tony Lilly, number 22, is covering him. See that little move he made to the out? Lilly went out, boom, Schrader hit it right in there.
Here's what happened to the extra point. The snap was behind Schrader. Zendejas just got there early before the ball was down. Cox to kick off. Bell and Lang back deep. Cox's kick sails through and out of the end zone. They'll bring it back to the 20. The Redskins scoring drive. 11 plays, 77 yards. They kept it 4 minutes, 29 seconds. And the Redskins, when they score first, their record is 36-2 since 1983.
You know, that's probably pretty good, but I'll tell you another thing. I've always known when you miss an extra point, somewhere it jumps up and bites you.
Winder is the lone setback. Mobley on the move. Elway has some time now, looks and finally guns it in the direction of Mobley. And when I say gun it, he can gun it.
That's one thing. He throws it so hard, you always have the chance for two of them to get it. Here's the blocking here on Dexter Manley. That's Dave Studdard, number 70. Last week, Brad Benson made NFC Player of the Week blocking him.
Number 70.
Now Studdard is going back. I'll tell you, they just called him holding for that. I didn't see a holding there. In fact, I'd like to see that one again. I think maybe when Manley went down, maybe they thought that was holding, but watch Studdard. Boom, he's up in there. That's okay. Hand in there. That's okay. His hand's off him. Oh, that's a bad call. I don't care what you say.
Makes it 1st and 20. Elway. Hands off to Wilhite. And Dave Butts wraps that up.
I'll tell you, Dave Butts wraps up a lot of them. Here Butts is right here, and when he gets something going there, you better slow him up before he gets started. Watch that, it just takes a little inside move. That was Mark Cooper trying to block him.
You look like Cooper looked as if he was trying to get position on Butts.
Yeah, you don't. The first thing you do on Butts is you got to tie into him. You got to stop that thing. You can't step for position.
Position's not a factor when you're blocking him.
No, I mean, he's so big, you already got position any way he goes.
Mobley on the move. Elway back in his own end zone. Going deep. Intended for Mark Jackson. That was Darrell Green back there with him, and right with him.
I'll tell you, those are two of the fastest guys in the NFL. You know, that Mark Jackson probably has more speed than anyone on the Bronco team. And, of course, Darrell Green was in a race in the offseason, and he was the fastest guy in football. So that could, if you time that, they probably ran, as I was watching them here, and, you know, just timing them myself, I think they ran 4.3 in that 40, both of them.
I think you're right. The Redskins have their pass rushing unit in there now. Hamill, Marcus Cook on the inside. Grant and Butts out. Here's Elway back in the end zone to Wilhite. He'll get some breathing room, but not close to a first down. Todd Bowles tripped him up, a gain of 13.
Well, I'll tell you, the thing that they did is they got some room for their punter. He doesn't have to stand in the end zone now. Of course, the punter's back 15 yards from the line of scrimmage, so he'll be just in front of the goal line.
Wind, well, there isn't much. 7 miles an hour, they said, when the game began. But if you look up on top of the scoreboard, the flags aren't moving. Horan.
And all kickers love this altitude here.
Oh, yeah. Your average goes up. All you have to do is hit it. Yarber back deep. Allen didn't turn over. Flag down. Yarber with room gets to midfield. Darren Como tripped him up, a 45-yard punt. But let's see what the penalty is. Jerry Seaman is the referee.
Well, it has to be that illegal block, wouldn't you think? That's a very popular one. Holding. That's the same thing. If you get in better position, it's a legal block. If you can't get in a position to illegally block them in the back, then you hold them.
We have a post-possession foul, holding number 35 during the kick. First down.
I think it was the guys out here that were trying to hold up the outside guy. It was Keith Griffin they got it on, and I think they were trying to hold out. You know, the only two guys can go down to the outside guys. And I think they tried to hold them up, literally.
Washington 6, Denver nothing. Mecklenburg this time as the Broncos go with 4 down linemen. Mecklenburg as a linebacker. They give to Rogers right side. And whatever defense that was, Joe Collier and his unit got the right setup. Tomorrow on CBS, don't forget that big match in New England, the 49ers and the Patriots. It begins with the NFL today, but both those teams, the Niners and New England, still in the playoff picture. Both need to win.
And I'll tell you, the Redskins are probably going to be the wild card team. And Joe Gibbs told us one day we don't want to see the 49ers again.
Monk comes in motion. Again, it's counter Trey. Rogers behind the 2 blockers from the other side, and this time Mecklenburg and company stack it up. The report on Gary Clark from the Redskins is that he has strained ligaments in his left ankle and will not return. And that indeed, as John Madden said, is a huge loss. That guy had been Mr. Clutch.
You know, and sometimes that sprained ankle is worse than a break. You always hear that it takes longer to heal than a broken bone in there.
3rd down and 8. Less than a minute left in the first quarter. Schrader back to throw. Gets it outside, intended for Kelvin Bryant. Bounced off his thumbs. Steve Wilson was the nearest. Must have stung him a little bit. Schrader throws it hard, too.
I'll tell you, watch Joe Jacoby block against Carl Mecklenburg. Here's Jacoby, here's Mecklenburg. Jacoby does a nice job on him. Last week he had a little trouble. He had a lot of trouble with Lawrence Taylor. Took some criticism for it. This week he's getting Mecklenburg, but he's able to stay with him and drive him by and let Schrader get rid of it.
Steve Cox, the punter. Wilhite back. Good kick by Cox. Wilhite at his own 17. Room and blocks. He had one man to beat. That was Alvin Walton. And Walton stayed right with it. 52-yard punt by Cox.
I'll tell you, that Gerald Wilhite is something for this team, Pat. He's their leading receiver. He's a blocker. He's a punt returner. I'll tell you, just about everything he does. If it weren't for John Elway, he'd probably be the most valuable player on this team.
And he's not that big.
Not to be a blocker. He got some good blocks on that return, though. I remember when he was the #1 draft choice out of San Jose State. A lot of people thought the Broncos made a mistake.
Watson was the move man. The handoff is to Lang. Straight ahead, and he got 2 yards. Darrell Grant tripped him up. Gary Clark, we told you, had strained ligaments in that left ankle. They've got it iced down. But, as John said, sometimes that can be worse than a break.
And probably you talk about MVPs. I think Gary Clark has to be one of the MVPs on this team.
Mobley split wide to the right. Coleman out there with him. Lang and nothing. Maybe one. Quarter number 1 is over, and the scores: Washington 6, the Denver Broncos nothing.
James Garner, James Woods, and Piper Laurie.
You promised, Mama. You told her you would always take care of me.
Promise, a Hallmark Hall of Fame presentation Sunday.
Out there, 2 celebrations are taking place. I'm Jeff Bostic of the Washington Redskins, and we're celebrating our 50th anniversary. From 1937 to 1986, the legends and eras of greatness, the coaches and players who won 2 world titles and Super Bowl 17. And behind it all was Jack Kent Cooke, whose commitment and love for his teams and his community made it all possible. And that love of community is what also is being celebrated here in Washington and in 2,000 communities across the nation, as 30 million United Way volunteers celebrate the United Way Centennial, 100 years of service to the country. The United Way is founded on the idea that says people care. So join me and the Washington Redskins as we celebrate our 50th anniversary and be a part of the United Way Centennial. See all that we've been and all that we can become together. The United Way, thanks to you, it works for all of us, the United Way.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Stroh's and Stroh Light. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here. U.S. Army, a place to be all you can be. And by Yugo. Everybody needs a Yugo sometime.
Mile High Stadium, the home of the Broncos. Pat Summerall and John Madden, the Redskins leading Denver 6-0. Broncos, who had said to us yesterday in conversation, Dan Reeves saying, we have to be able to run the ball. If we're going to win, they have 4 yards rushing.
Well, they only have 15 yards of total offense. That's not the way they wanted to start that first quarter.
That won't get it done. 3 wide receivers come wide to the left. They're going with 4 on 3rd down and 7. Elway is going deep. Pass almost picked off as intended for Mark Jackson. No flags are down. The Redskins. Barry Wilburn back in good shape. Just to go back to the injury situation as concerns Gary Clark, it's not as bad as the first report that we had. It's an ankle sprain, but there is no ligament damage, so that's encouraging.
I think it's the same thing. I think a sprain and sprained or ligament, I think that's all the same thing. The word is just that it's not broken, it's a sprain. And you usually, what do you sprain? I think you sprain ligaments and stuff. You don't sprain bones.
Moran aiming for the sideline. Yarber fields it. Fair catches it. The Redskins will take over at their own 13. No flags. 40-yard punt. Redskins leading 6-0. Touchdown pass from Schrader to Sanders.
You know, there's Dave Butt standing there, sitting on the bench, relaxing there. You know, last week, the Giant offensive line coach, Fred Hoagland, said that he's got a big old head on him, weighs 50 pounds. Butts got upset about that, called it a pumpkin head, so he went and weighed his own head. And he said his head only weighed 12 pounds. I think it's more than that, though.
I think somewhere in between.
I would bet closer to 50 than 12.
Here's Schrader back to throw on 1st down, looking for Monk. A collision and a flag. And that looks legitimate. Dennis Smith, the defender.
Oh, and then they threw another flag. That was the same guy.
Number 49, defense. 1st down.
The same guy just picked it up and threw it down again. That was a double dipper, but looks like Smith gets there before the ball does. Well, that's pretty close. I don't know. I don't think that's as bad as it looked when they did it. You know, because if he gets there first before the ball, he can't hit him. That looks like about the same time.
That ball was thrown behind Monk.
And into Smith, and Smith has a right to go for the ball.
First down, Redskins, nevertheless. The handoff is to Rogers. Rogers cuts back inside, hit by Simon Fletcher first. And down he goes after a gain of 5.
You see Simon Fletcher come running down that line. No one blocked him. He had Rogers all zeroed in, didn't he?
Well, that really is how you beat that play, that counter, Trey, when they pull the offside lineman. You got to have somebody to count that guy chasing.
And that's probably why they put in a Simon Fletcher, because he has that speed and he can run it down from the backside.
2nd and 6, 46. Schrader, a mix-up. And all he can do is look for some daylight and doesn't see anything but orange. And so down he goes.
Let's watch it. He turned the wrong way. I think that was Schrader's fault, because it looked like the ball was supposed to go to the right. Everyone else went to the right. Schrader went to the left, and he didn't have any guy there to hand it off to.
So that brings up a 3rd down and 8 situation. Kelvin Bryant in the game. Monk goes in motion. Schrader back to throw. Monk spins away from one defender and gets another 6 yards out of it. Tony Lilly was the first defender.
Tell you, Monk is out there. He starts in motion, then he's going to be out there working on Mike Harden, number 31. He drives him up. He knows where the first down marker is, stops, hooks to the inside, works back to the outside, and he just knocked Harden off with his right arm. That was a defensive pass rush move. But I'll tell you, Schrader drilled that ball.
Oh, boy.
That's where you can tell the strength of a quarterback's arm is throwing the out.
Haynes has replaced Harden as the Broncos' right cornerback. This is Rogers at or behind the line of scrimmage and knocked backwards by the big crushers.
You know, one thing about this Bronco defense and Joe Collier, they play a different defense on every down. And most of these different defenses play different people on every down. So by the time you figure out who's playing where, the guy's not there anymore. There's a new guy there.
That's one of the more confusing things about it. Different defenses and different numbers. 2nd 11. To Bryant. Kelvin Bryant inside the Bronco 25 and up for a Redskin first down. Ken Woodard chasing him. Bryant, the last couple of weeks, has really come on.
I'll tell you, the other thing, you know, Joe Gibbs said last week he was waiting for him to come on. Last week, he thought he did come on. But I'll tell you, what Joe has to be happy with here is his pass protection. Joe Jacoby last week, as I said, he drew Lawrence Taylor. It was a long day. Now today he's drawing Carl Mecklenburg a big part of the time, and he's taking care of that business.
First down at the Bronco 25 for the Redskins. They again move Monk. Schrader fakes, back to throw. Gets the screen pass out to Rogers. Not many blockers out in front. Rick Dennison on the tackle. We're at Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado. Ideal weather. Redskins scored on a pass from Schrader to Sanders. Then Zendejas missed the extra point. George Rogers so far has been busy. Has 44 yards rushing. And the Redskins lead it 6-0. 2nd down and 6. At the 21-yard line of Denver. To about the 15 and about a yard shy of a first down. Ricky Hundley made the stop.
You know, that was interesting how Monk came in motion, Pat. He starts here. As he's in motion, he's watching the secondary all the way. Then he goes all the way here, up, and in. He decides as he's going in motion and watching what he's going to do when he gets up there. Watch your motion. See him look? He's looking to see what coverage he's getting. Now he sees the whole inside, comes up, stops, goes back to the inside.
3rd and 1. Rodgers will score. From 15 yards out, George Rodgers bolts into the end zone.
And that was that heavy jumbo formation. They had all big guys. Look at those big guys. There's Rodgers. He's the only guy that's not a big guy in there. He's the guy that's going to get the ball. Look at left. He has Donnie Warren, his tight end, in the backfield. He leads. Warren's the guy that got that kick-out block. Rodgers was in there. He felt comfortable. He says, I got that big old heavy jumbo in front of me. I'm going to go jumbo left. He was looking over there, and he felt comfortable with all those big old guys.
Rodgers is only 230. Zendejas. The extra point is good, but not really very good.
Watch number 85, Donnie Warren. He's the tight end. Watch the lead here. The block he kicks out. That allows the hole for Rodgers to go through.
And that was a huge opening. 13-0 Redskins.
Chardonnay. Chablis Blanc. Zinfandel. Sauvignon Blanc. Cabernet Sauvignon. To all those who are coming home, and those we come home to, from Ernest and Julio Gallo, all the best.
Facts and figures are one thing, but the best way to judge a Honda Prelude SI is by the seat of your pants.
Monday, what can you do when your daughter's seeing a married man and you set them up?
Suffer for the rest of your natural life.
The Kavanaughs.
Hey, we talk about Donnie Warren. He gets the good lead block here. Russ Grimm is the guard. He pulls as they fire down here. He pulls and leads here as Schrader gets the ball to him. Now watch this. Jay Schrader almost fumbled the exchange. There's Grimm leading and Warren leading.
Steve Cox line drive kickoff is handled by Ken Bell. Bell had an alley and took advantage of it out to about the 35 before he tripped up by Dean Hamill. 34-yard return. That's the Washington scoring drive that made it 13-0. Rodgers 15-yard run, 16th touchdown of the season for George. Denver's first 4 possessions have not been very lucrative. 4 punts by Horan.
Well, you know, that's what we talked about. That's the same thing that happened to them last week. Their first series, they had something go wrong all the time. Then Kansas City built up the lead, and they couldn't get back.
Elway back to throw. Manley forces him up into the pocket. Flags go down. Elway comes out of there. Chased out of bounds by Darrell Green and Neil Olkowitz. He got 7, but that is probably going to be holding.
That'll be holding against the Broncos, and that one will come back. Be interesting if it's against Dexter Manley. It'd be on Studdard. That would be the second penalty Studdard had blocking Manley today. Manley does get a lot of that, where the guy blocking him gets a lot of penalties on him.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Number 54 offense. Still first down.
So on Keith Bishop.
Bishop would be the guy blocking Darrell Grant. You know, one thing about this line of the Redskins, they have big guys, Grant and Butts, in the middle, and they get to push up the center. Then they have the fast guys, Manley and Mann, coming from the outside.
Elway back. Manley chasing again. Outside intended for Winder, but Elway had to hurry. Manley with the heat.
Tell you, Manley is starting to get it going now. I mean, he's rushed there. He just takes a bull rush into Studdard, pushes him by, and he's right there at Elway's feet. Usually he uses his speed and goes around. That time he just took on Dave Studdard, boom, and then got beyond him. You know, going into last week's game, he was a leading sacker in the NFL. Coming out of the game, he was second. Lawrence Taylor was number 1.
Second and 20. From Elway and a gain of 10. Ken Coffey made the stop. John Madden was talking a minute ago about all the things that Gerald Wilhite does. One thing that's not included in there is blocking.
I'll tell you, you know, that's why a guy is so valuable, you know, that does those things that you don't always see, like the blocking when Sammy Winder runs it, the blocking he has to do on pass protection, receiving, the return. You put it all together, and that's a valuable deal.
Elway from the shotgun for Mobley. And Orson Mobley comes down with it. Todd Bowles knocked him out of bounds. Mobley weighs about 265.
There is an interesting guy, a 265-pound tight end who plays H-back. And they like him because he's a receiver. You think of a 265-pound guy as a blocker, like another tackle. But this guy is a tackle who's running like a wide receiver. Elway this time had good pass protection. See, they keep Elway, I mean, they keep Manley off him just long enough for Elway to get rid of the ball. But that's a big target. I mean, a big old 265-pound guy out there running patterns.
He got 25 on that completion. Redskins showing blitz. Penalty markers down. Pass is complete to Mark Jackson. Elway threw it going backwards.
Dan Reeves was saying that sometimes Elway is like Houdini. I think he was like Houdini on that one. Neil Okowitz, the middle linebacker, came on a blitz. No one picked him up.
Offside. Defense. Penalty decline. First down.
In fact, they were offsides to get to the rush. And old Houdini going backwards got rid of that ball and completed it.
The Redskins never really got set on defense. Manley was still moving around when the ball was snapped. And so was Millot. First and 10 as they decline the penalty. Ball's at the Redskin 30. Washington leading 13-0. Elway doesn't like what he sees and calls a timeout.
He had 12 men on the field, Pat. He had 2 tight ends. One had to get out. They finally did.
13-0. Redskins over Broncos.
A tiger has black stripes. A tiger has a brown nose. We saw a rhinoceros.
Kindergartners across the country are reading as much as 2 grade levels above the national average because of an IBM learning program called Writing to Read. Using personal computers and other tools, it helps them convert sounds they can say,
See the word pig.
into sounds they can write and read.
A frog eats insects. A frog eats bugs.
I've been involved in a lot of innovative programs. This is the first one that I feel will stay forever. I think Writing to Read is here to stay.
I see a tiger. A tiger sees me. Tigers live in the sea. The end.
To learn more about writing to read, write IBM, Box 446, Montvale, New Jersey.
You might get caught out in the middle of nowhere with a dead battery, but I won't. This is a Delco maintenance-free battery, and when this green eye is showing, it means I've got all the starting power I need, up to 770 cranking amps. If you think your battery's fading fast, I'd start thinking Delco.
Now through January 3rd, get a $5 rebate on most Delco batteries. See a participating AC Delco retailer for details.
Never wait for trouble.
It's an early season collision between two of the nation's premier teams. The Fighting Illini of Illinois take on the North Carolina Tar Heels next Saturday on CBS Sports.
Pat Summerall, John Madden. We're at Mile High Stadium in Denver. Rich Carlos.
Now there's a new one, Pat, where the kicker has two helmets. One on his head and one in his hand.
Well, the other one has to be for the holder. I don't know why.
That's a new deal for kickers.
Winder. Stopped by Butts. A loss of 2. Tomorrow here on CBS again, the Giants in the playoffs entertain the Cardinals. They had a tough time with them first time around. 13-6, I think, with the score.
Well, if you're going to be a championship team, if you're going to be a Super Bowl team like the Giants have a chance to be, you can't have trouble with teams like the Cardinals. If you can't beat those guys, then you don't belong there.
Second down and 12 for the Broncos. Elway back to throw. Steps up. Down the middle, intended for Gerald Wilhite. Well covered. Joe Collier on the sideline looking at the Redskin defensive alignments and whatever else concerns him.
Well, he's looking to see what the Redskins were doing formation-wise. You see now, those are the Polaroids that they took during the first quarter. Those are all the Redskins formations that he has to adjust his defenses to. So he'll have like first down, second down, third and long, third and short, goal line, all the situations on picture.
Third and 12. Elway retreats. Into the pocket, and out he comes. Into the end zone. Incomplete. He had Vance Johnson. He just couldn't get it to him. He was open and well open.
I'll tell you, he drilled that ball. He found Vance Johnson. Vance Johnson has great speed. He's coming across that end zone. But watch Elway and his throw. He gets flushed out. Now, when he gets flushed out here, he's more dangerous than he is in the pocket. Now he finds Vance Johnson. Watch him drill that. I thought that he had a chance to get it, but he didn't. The ball bounced in front of him.
Kubiak is holding. That was his helmet that Carlos had a minute ago. Because Carlos doesn't wear the Kubiak doesn't wear the helmet on the sideline. Carlos is not good from 48 yards out. And the Redskins still lead 13-0 with 7:49 left to play in the first half.
Giving that extra effort makes winners. Be All You Can Be, sponsored by the U.S. Army. Denver's Gerald Wilhite, number 47, truly defines what it is to be a role player. The talented running back never stops hustling, and he is always ready to contribute to his offense in a variety of ways. By always going all out and making extra effort an integral part of his game, Gerald Wilhite is the best he can be.
You're reaching deep inside you, so things you've never known. It's been tough, rough going, but you haven't gone alone.
We do more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day.
All that you can
Hey, First Sergeant. Good morning.
find your future in the Army.
Redskins 13, Denver nothing. 7:49 left in the first half. There is the NFC's playoff picture. The division leaders, the Giants, record of 12-2. They play the Cardinals tomorrow. The Bears 12-2, and the Rams, who have yet to clinch, 10-4. The best of the rest, Washington, obviously, with an 11-3 record, seems almost a certainty to host the wild card game, unless the Giants stumble. In San Francisco, Minnesota, and Dallas still alive, but just barely.
But as I said, I think, going into the playoffs, if you look at the history of the Super Bowl and teams that do the best, it's always the teams that are getting better as they're going in. And I think that's the most important thing in these last 2 weeks, is these teams that are in already establish themselves as getting better, not just holding on.
Rodgers is deep. Schrader fakes to him. Anthony Jones has it bounce to the ground, and he's down. Rick Dennison was the Bronco defender. Mention that the Cowboys still, mathematically at least, although it's very slim, have a chance to make it to the playoffs. They entertain the Eagles tomorrow. Jones is the man down, and let's see what happens.
I'll tell you, Schrader had great pass protection on that play, but the same thing is happening to Jones that happened to Gary Clark. It was after a drop ball. Then he was not in position. He wasn't expecting that thing. He dropped the ball, and then he got that hit on the knee.
And that knee is just not supposed to bend like his did.
Oh, it's ironic that both of those injuries to the Redskin players happened in about the same spot in the field with the same thing, the drop pass. I'll tell you, that's why they always say you might as well go ahead and catch it, because you're going to get hit anyway.
Dan Reeves with Gerald Wilhite over on the sideline. The rest of the Broncos, but the Redskins lead this contest 13-0.
You might get caught out in the middle of nowhere with a dead battery, but I won't. This is a Delco maintenance-free battery, and when this green eye is showing, it means I've got all the starting power I need, up to 770 cranking amps. If you think your battery's fading fast, I'd start thinking Delco.
Now through January 3rd, get a $5 rebate on most Delco batteries. See a participating AC Delco retailer for details.
Never wait for trouble.
This is the time of year when we gather from far and near, and we welcome the season in and let all the love begin. And the jokes you tell and the songs you sing and the sight of your smile still means everything. And I finally get to say,
Hi, Mama.
Think of you every day. Happy holidays, Coors to you.
From the people at Coors. This is Steve and Joan Schorsch of Chicago and their Honda. And these are their children and their Hondas. But then Steve and Joan always said, nothing but the best for our kids.
Injured Redskin player Anthony Jones is still down. The Redskins lead at 13-0, but he took a vicious hit right on the knee.
Well, it was number 55, Rick Dennison. After Jones drops the ball here, doesn't get it, drops it. Look, he's standing there. Now, Dennison, 55, comes in and hits him right on the knee. And it looked like that hit, that foot, the right foot was planted, and he got hit right on the knee. Now, the foot didn't give, and the only thing that could give is a joint. And they're putting one of those braces right now on Jones's knee. You can see the first thing they want to do is immobilize it.
He's got his shoe off. Now the bandage. And then the stretcher. While they administer, here's the playoff picture in the AFC. The division leaders right now, New England at 10-4. Cleveland at that same record, and Denver at 10-4. The Jets, as you probably know, lost already today. Their record is now 10-5. Cincinnati plays Cleveland tomorrow. They're 9-5, and then Kansas City, the Raiders, and Seattle, all with mathematical chances to get into the playoffs.
You know, the ironic thing about that AFC, though, is all those top teams that we're talking about for Super Bowl earlier, like the Jets, the Patriots, the Broncos, the Raiders, all those teams lost their last game.
There's Gary Clark, injured earlier. His left ankle, as you can see. Anthony Jones with a knee problem.
I'll tell you, that's the other thing. You know, we talk about going into the playoffs, the things you want to be peaking, you want to be playing well, but then the other thing that you don't want are injuries. Of course, Joe Gibbs already lost Clint Didier. He was his starting H-back, and he had the broken finger. And then Anthony Jones replaces him, and he gets the knee.
And so their replacement now will be Terry Orr. They're down to 2 tight ends, and the tight end is such a very important part of the Redskin offensive scheme.
As you say, along with Donnie Warren, they played 2 at all times, and that's been their football. Now they only have 1 in there with 3 wide receivers.
Schrader, draw play to Bryant. Kelvin Bryant. Outside the 35, about the 38. Rick Dennison made the stop. Bryant got 6. Here goes Anthony Jones, headed into the locker room.
You know, I think one of the big losses for this Redskin team was Clint Didier, because as Joe Gibbs said, it takes 2 guys to replace him. One is a receiver. They try and use Orr in the receiving, and then one is a blocker where they tried to use Jones.
There is Didier with a broken bone in his hand. Joe Gibbs was saying he can't block anybody yet. He can catch. Art Monk in motion. Bryant again. Down the sideline, and he lowers and lets go on Steve Foley.
Yeah, one thing I think we have to mention is the Redskin offensive line took a lot of abuse last week, but they've come back this week. I mean, they have really controlled this defense. Watch this pass protection here. Boom, boom. They got him up there. There goes. They put Rulon Jones up on Jacoby. He's taking care of that. They're making solid, giving Schrader time so that Kelvin Bryant can do this. That was a good unload. That registered 19.
On any scale. Rogers is in for Bryant now, and Orr is in front of him. Monk is the motion man. Sanders puts wide to the right. Rogers. George Rogers trying to get to the outside. Does for a moment. Knocked out of bounds by Rick Dennison after he got 4.
As you look at Rulon Jones there, he's their big pass rusher, leading sacker of the Bronco defensive team, and they move him around. He always plays left end on running downs, and then on the passing downs, they move him to tackle and to the other end. That last pass rush, he was over there against Jacoby. This time, he's lining up against May.
2nd down and 6. Redskins leading 13-0. 6:15 left to play in the first half. Schrader, all kinds of time. Intended for Monk. Best he could do with that was bat it down. He really fired it.
You know, Jay Schrader, when we talked to him last night, he was really a confident guy, wasn't he? I mean, he was like, you know, no worries, nothing bothers me. Yeah, got to go out to dinner. We met his dad in the lobby. His dad looks like a retired defensive nose tackle. Dad looked like he'd been down there in the pits.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, big old guy.
Jay was just saying, hey, look, I made some bad reads last week. I got to do better.
Yeah, but he was kind of laughing. Yeah, and saying, yeah, we'll get him.
3rd down. Broncos on a blitz. Somebody might come clean. It was Monk. Pass is high over his head. Dennis Smith.
But again, I'm still impressed with the job. Watch this offensive line. It's a 4-man rush plus a safety blitz. But watch how well they pick it up. It's a stunt. They're solid there. They pass everything, pick everything off, and let Schrader gun that thing out there incomplete.
Kelvin Bryant did a heck of a job. Zendejas with Schrader holding. This will be from 53 yards out. Steve Cox usually tries him from this far out, but this is Zendejas. Good hold. Not such a good kick. Score remains 13-0 Redskins. 5:59 left to play first half.
That one wasn't even close. That'll make a coach mad to see Joe Gibbs. So what we try that one for?
Next Saturday at 3:45 Eastern Time, CBS Sports presents college basketball and presents two of the premier teams in the country as they battle it out. The Fighting Illini and Dean Smith's Tar Heels of North Carolina, ranked number 5 and number 6 in the country. College basketball next. Right now, pro football. And Elway is down in the arms of Charles Mann. Redskins' second sack.
That's why you like to have that speed in a defensive lineman. You know that when the quarterback breaks away, he has the speed to get him. And it looks like Mann hurt himself on that play.
He asked for help from the sideline.
I think he may have caught a foot right in that area there.
Man, 6'6", 270. Cook has taken his place, Marcus Cook. On second down, Elway retreats again. Wilhite. Mann's right shoulder bothering him. Rich Malott knocked Wilhite out of bounds after enough for a Bronco first down. Redskins leading 13-0.
Mann had to get back in there. You can't. The rule number 1 in the defensive lineman's playbook is never let a quarterback knock you out of the game. I mean, if your quarterback knocks you out of the game, you never get to play again. You can't go dress or shower with the guys.
Unless it's humiliation.
Oh, terrible.
Elway, draw play to Winder. He crosses into Redskin country. Stopped by Darrell Grant, a gain of 4.
That's the thing that, you know, that Dan Reeves was talking about, and he's really not getting it today as we see Sandy Winder has rushed 4 times for 11 yards. He wanted to get back, get a running game going, get a ball control type game going, and he hasn't done it yet in this first half.
Mobley now, that 265-pounder, is split wide to the right, but they come the other way, or try to, and Winder's got no place to go as Dexter Manley comes crashing through and takes Winder down. Monty Coleman helped him out.
Well, you're never going to have a chance if you let penetration come like this. Manley gets 5 yards into the backfield. He took an inside move on Dave Studdard. Studdard stepped to left again to get position, and then Manley took the inside. You always make contact first, then get position. Don't go for position first, because that's what happens to you.
You wind up blocking air if you do that against a guy like Manley.
Yeah, and then that allows penetration. Heck, Manley was 5 yards in that backfield.
Wilhite back with Elway. Third down for the Broncos. They need 17 for a first. Mobley. And he's got enough. Big Orson hung on. They paid a little bit of a price, too.
I'll tell you, they have to, because when you get that thing, that locomotive coming across there, it's like a prison break. Watch this thing. I mean, he's coming across the field going full go. See him crossing there? Boom, look, it takes 3 guys. 1, 2. Yep, that third guy didn't want any part of it. But 2 guys got him down.
Orson from Salem College, 6'5", 256, but he is bigger than that.
Well, that's what they weighed. I mean, when they weighed him in 2 months ago, he's 265 now.
Here's Elway back. Has to step up and will have to come out of there. Elway to about the 34. Olkowitz around his ankles, but he scrambled for 5.
I think one thing, if you talk about this Bronco offense, and Dan Reeves says the problems we've had haven't been the running game with our runners or the passing game with our quarterback or receivers. He said it's just our line. He said we just can't keep the guys healthy. Last week they lost Paul Howard, their starting right guard. This week they're starting with Mark Cooper, but he says we always have a different group in there, and that group really hasn't gelled yet.
He's a big believer, and you've got to have confidence in the guy next to you, and that really is a secret.
That's the thing, because when you get those stunts, you have to zone them or man them or whatever, and if you don't have confidence, you'll find a guy taking an inside move. You find a lot of guys running free.
Broncos take another timeout. They only have 1 remaining. As Elway comes over to talk to his head coach Dan Reeves and Gary Kubiak next to him, the backup quarterback. Don't forget to stick around at the half. Brent Musburger, Billy Kilmer, and Craig Morton, 2 guys very familiar with these 2 teams, will be in the studio. Also at the half, Will McDonough will chat with the Jets' Marty Lyons from the Meadowlands, and Irv Cross will be here with a field report. All that coming up to half. We're at Mile High Stadium, the home of the Broncos.
We were talking about the offensive linemen, and I don't believe you win championships and go to Super Bowl without a solid offensive line. And like this half, the Broncos have only rushed for 1 yard, and that type of thing isn't going to get it done.
So far, this is the way it's happened. The Redskins lead it at Mile High Stadium 13-0. Touchdown pass from Schrader to Sanders, and a run by Rodgers of 15 yards. Those the 2 touchdowns. Anthony Jones and Gary Clark injured for the Redskins. And Zendejas missed the first extra point.
I think that one in the middle there, where the Redskins have rushed for 84 yards, the Broncos have only rushed for 1 yard, is the story of this first half. Because that's what both of them wanted to do going into the game. The Redskins have done it, the Broncos haven't.
Dan Reeves said we've got to be able to run it. They're behind 13-0. Quickly outside, and is Vance Johnson nailed by Tim Morrison. And Vance gets up a little slowly. That was interesting, the beginning of that play with Darrell Green going with the man in motion. And then he had to spin around and come back, and Elway saw it and got the ball out there. Johnson may not be happy that he did.
Tell you, watch this hit. He never had a chance. Just as he turned, there was Tim Morrison. I think they're saying that was a complete pass, Pat. They're spotting the ball right there where Johnson was hit.
Redskins are arguing about that.
I don't know if he had control of it or not.
There it is. Listen. The official indicates, the official on the spot indicated, yes, it was a catch.
Yeah, but I think they have to look at this one in instant replay. I don't think it was a catch. I don't know that he had control. You have to come down to have control, both feet moving up the field. I'm sure they're doing a review right now. Now he has the ball. I don't know.
The word from the booth is that it's inconclusive. Watch the official now. Ball goes out of bounds. And that official closest ruled that it was a catch, and the evidence says inconclusive. It's a first down, Broncos.
Yeah, they always say the official was right on top of it. He was. I don't think that makes him right all the time. Being on top of it doesn't mean it's okay.
And before they can resume, we get the 2-minute warning. Redskins leading Denver 13-0.
delivered so many of your holiday circulars, I thought I'd check out these Ace Best Buys myself. My wife will love the Chicago Cutlery Gourmet Sampler.
This quality 2 knife set is just $9.77.
And a sharp solar calculator for Scotty.
Best Buy priced at just $5.88.
Ah, this 13-piece drill minder set for the old man.
It's only $4.88 with a $2 rebate.
I'll be back after rounds and pick them up.
Okay.
Oh, I feel like Santa myself. Oh.
This is the place with the helpful hardware man.
John Houseman for the investment firm of Smith Barney.
This gentleman just wiped me out with a roll of the dice. But when it comes to real investing, with real money, consider Smith Barney, where wiser heads than mine scrutinize every possibility, because good investments don't happen by chance. Smith Barney. They make money the old-fashioned way. They earn it.
Who has transformed video cameras, making them more compact, simpler, more colorful, more fun? Who? RCA, with the new Pro Wonder camcorder, the camera and recorder that uses standard VHS cassettes plus solid-state technology for brighter, more colorful memories. Pro Wonder. If you settle for less than RCA, that's exactly what you'll get.
2 minutes remaining at Mile High Stadium with the Redskins leading Denver 13-0. 2 minutes remaining in the first half. The Steelers beat the Jets earlier today. Jerry Seaman is saying, start the clock. Let's get things rolling here. Elway as the Broncos operate from the Washington 28. Draw play. Winder to the 11. Tripped up by Morrison. Gain of 16 and a Bronco first down.
Well, there's the run. What they're going to run. Dave Butts takes it inside. They turn out on man, and that's the hole that Sammy Winder goes in. They got Butts going to the inside. They got man going to the outside, and then they ran a draw right between them.
And they got Wilhite in front of Winder blocking on Coleman. Elway back to throw, looking, throwing, corner of the end zone. Flags are down. Mark Jackson was the target. Darrell Green was back there with him. They got all tangled up, and flags went down.
Well, Darrell Green's in there arguing that it wasn't him, but it's going to go against him.
In the end zone, number 28 defense. The ball will be placed at the 1-yard line. First down.
Look at it. It's going to happen right down here on the slot man. Right there, they go up, they get the bump. Now watching the end zone right there. Yeah, Darrell Green did. He went down for his knee. He gave him like a clipping motion. In fact, they're taking Darrell Green out because it's goal line now, but I've never seen a defensive back react like that.
Well, he obviously felt it was going to be touchdown if he didn't do something like that, so he did it. It's Wilhite. Bronco touchdown, and another flag goes down.
I think they're going to throw it against the Redskins, too. I think the touchdown will stand.
No, it's against Denver.
Oh, they called holding. The Redskins were arguing like it was against them.
Holding, number 85 offense, still first down.
Holding on Joey Hackett.
He's in motion. Watch 85, Joey Hackett. He's coming in motion, blocking on the end man here. I guess he reached with his left arm and grabbed, but he didn't have to do it.
No, he didn't.
I mean, that's a dumb penalty. All he had to do was bump him because Wilhite was already by him. Oh, boy.
That makes it first and goal from the 11 now. Elway will go back into the shotgun. This is a plan to play. And Elway gets in. extra point. Rich Carlos. Kubiak holding. This would make it 13-7 if it's good. That's what it makes it.
That's a great thing about having a quarterback that can run. You can do this. 164 is center. Billy Bryan lead him. Elway comes, gets a little block there, and then cuts in to the end zone for the touchdown.
It's 13-7 Redskins.
Car carry people, we know who we are.
Here's where Quaker State's unique engine protection formula goes to work for you.
We got what it takes, we know what's best. We're the ones who won't settle for less.
For top quality, state-of-the-art motor oil protection, special formula Quaker State.
We're Quaker State people, reaching for the best.
Okay, here's a good block here. Turn out here. They start on a double here. Turn out here. He has to go in coverage. Elway runs up the middle with his center, Billy Bryan, leading him. I'll tell you who makes a good block is a left guard, Keith Bishop. Turn out, follow Bryan. Bryan gets a little nick there of Jordan, and Elway gets in the end zone.
Darrell Grant was screaming that he was held.
Well, that was a block I said was a good block. Keith Bishop, number 54.
Dwight Garner back deep for the Redskins. Carlos set to kick off. Yarber and Keith Griffin back there with him. New names for the Redskins. Carlos, Kent is deep to Garner, and he'll keep it in the end zone. 13-7. Redskins over the Broncos. Denver 9 plays, 65 yards. Kept it 446. Elway took it in from 11 yards out.
The other thing about that play, and Joe Gibbs said last week, when the Giants scored just before halftime, it took all the wind out of them at halftime. And the same thing happened this week. They had complete control of the game. Now with just a little over a minute left, Denver scores, and it's a different ballgame, and that's how they have to go in at halftime.
A minute 13 remaining. Redskins with all 3 of their timeouts remaining. This is Kelvin Bryant. Spins back inside, gets to about the 25. They let the clock run.
That's an interesting decision because it looks like with all 3 timeouts that the Redskins have decided it's 13-7. We want to go in at halftime with that. And I think, you know, this crowd gets excited, and I think what they want to do is keep them under control, not give the Broncos another big play before halftime.
This crowd has come to life now, and they can be very vocal. Schrader just seeing that everybody's got all the information they need. They start Monk in motion. 30 seconds remaining. Again, it's Bryant. And a flag goes down. That'll stop the clock. Steve Wilson came over to make the stop after a gain of 1.
And I would think, even though that does stop the clock, I would think now Denver will start taking timeouts.
They've only got 1 left.
But I think with that, you know, that second down, now they'll run again. Now I think the Broncos will take the timeout after this play. If it's another running
offense.
play.
Penalty decline. 3rd down.
Art Monk limps over to the sideline. It was he who they called for holding, and he's in pain.
He was out there trying to block on Steve Wilson, who was the guy that made the play.
3rd and 3. If they don't get the first, I would imagine you're right. The Broncos will take the timeout. They have 1 remaining. Redskins are just about out of wide receiver. Here's Bryant. He's close.
I think that's going to give him the first down. That little spin right at the end, Pat, I think he got the first down. So the Broncos won't take the timeout.
He gained 4, and they'll just let it run down now. The Redskins have got right now as they head for the locker room, as do the Broncos, but Washington has a serious injury problem. They've lost a lot of key people. That's the end of the first half with the score. Washington 13, Denver 7.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Honda, who invite you to experience the Accord four-door sedans at your local Honda dealer. And by Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store.
Late one night, when all the families and all the houses all across the land were fast asleep, all of their old family cars were taken away. In their places were left shiny new Honda Accords. And they all drove happily ever after.
When nighttime comes and the world is still, you can hear the smallest sounds. And nothing can break the spell like an engine that knocks. But Phillips 66 Super Clean Premium Unleaded is made for the way you drive to help control knocks and pings and sounds that go clank in the night. So use Phillips 66 Super Clean Premium Unleaded because knocks and pings can ruin more than your engine. Super Clean Premium Unleaded. Clean up and keep clean gasoline from Phillips 66.
Tuesday. Yeah. Prohibition is their livelihood. Corruption is their foe. Jackie Gleason.
I miss.
Art Carney.
Hello. Whoa.
Wednesday.
These survivalist trips can get pretty tough.
Higgins witnesses a murder.
We can't leave Higgins here alive.
And becomes hunted on Magnum.
You're in big trouble.
Shoot him!
Then...
Where's my baby?
Believe me, I can help you.
You stole it!
We are going to bring him home.
Glad everything went smoothly.
I smell a setup.
The Equalizer.
Welcome back to New York, everybody. At the half, the Redskins leading the Broncos, and it's a pleasure for me to be joined by Billy Kilmer and Craig Morton. And Craig, you smiled a bit when John Elway took off and got the ball into the end zone on that quarterback.
Well, I didn't think I was going to have much to talk about at halftime. I thought I was going to go, oh, just a little sleeper out there.
Elway's real strength as a quarterback is his running ability, however.
Well, we knew he could really run well, and as if we see what he's doing right here, the quarterback draws. Washington had a lot of confusion on the play, and the middle linebacker just took right off, and John says, I'll just take it myself and score the 7. He's got 7 on his back, so he said, I'll get 7 points.
And he got it with the extra point. Billy, what about the injuries that are piling up? Madden and Summerall alluding to the injury factor with the Redskins.
Well, you know, I said at the top of the show that it's an intensity factor game, and the coaches really got to keep that intensity on both sides. The Redskins had it at the start, and then they started to coast. They got a 13-0 lead, and that kid dropped the ball down there and took that knee thing. He just relaxed. If you relax out on that field, you're going to get hurt. Monk did the same thing, and just right here. We don't know how serious he is, but it could be a factor. It's an intensity game, and you got to keep it up 60 minutes.
Well, Billy and Craig, earlier this afternoon, the New York Jets were beaten, and this was an enormously important game, not only for the Jets, but also for the Raiders and the Chiefs, because this sets up a possible playoff berth for either of those teams if they win twice. The Jets were down by 7. They went to that all-out blitz. Remember how they got burned by the Dolphins last year? Same thing here. Touchdown, John Stallworth. Now you're down by 2 scores, forces the Jets to go up and try to force something, and here comes Lupe Sanchez. 67 yards for the touchdown. This put the Steelers up by 3 scores. Billy, talking to you, you like the Steelers coming into this game. Too many injuries for the Jets, or what'd you see with Pittsburgh?
Well, I knew that Pittsburgh was playing real well right now. Chuck Noll in the last 3 to 4 weeks has got this team playing very well. And Mark Malone, like they said, he's not doing it all himself. He's letting the team handle it. They got a good defense. Plus, the Jets have a lot of problems in their defense, and with Klecko going out early, took their leadership away.
Craig, what happens to a football team like the Jets when one person like Klecko comes out? Is that big a factor for leadership?
Sure. Gastineau being out, Klecko's out. Ken O'Brien had a great up to the point right now, he was playing real well, but he got himself in some real bad habits. He got the easy touchdowns down the middle, got in the habit of throwing long. Now he's trying to do the same things, and defenses are tightening up. They're playing more zone, and he's causing himself a lot of problems. So the Jets are in real serious trouble.
Yeah, Craig and Billy, Will McDonough in the NFL today was out covering the game, and he's standing by with another one of the injured Jets, so let's go to Will.
We're here in a very dark and very damp Meadowlands Stadium with Marty Lyons of the Jets after another tough Jets loss. Marty, do you ever think you'd find yourself in this situation 4 weeks ago, getting down basically to a one-game season?
Not really. We had a lot of momentum going when we were 10-1. Then we ran into a big streak of injuries, and now we're going into a big streak of just not playing good football.
What was it like in the locker room after this game today?
Well, I think it was very quiet. We're emotionally drained. We're all looking for answers, but the answers aren't there to be found. I think the main thing that we have to do is look at yourself in the mirror, seeing if you're giving that 110%, seeing if you're going out there and playing good football. And once everybody cleans their own doorstep, then we can regroup as a team.
Everybody around this club, except for the players, seems to be jumping on Ken O'Brien and say he's the reason for what's happening. How do you view that?
Well, I think every quarterback is going to be the center of attention. And right now, Kenny doesn't have a supporting cast out there. You know, you win and lose as a 45-man roster, and right now we're losing, and Kenny's taking all the blame. But people don't realize that the quality quarterback Kenny was to get us those 10 victories, and by no means is it his fault. You know, we're just not playing good football as a team.
What does this club have to do next week to beat Cincinnati and get in the playoffs?
I think the biggest thing we have to do is look deep down into our own hearts and realize whether we're going to lay it on the line for that one game or if we're going to just pack it up and be happy with those 10 wins. I think that we have to gain our self-respect back before we can go out there and play a 60-minute game.
Marty, thanks very much for being with us. And Brent, there's two more items I'd like to talk about. First of all, Joe Walton said that Ken O'Brien will be the Jets quarterback next Sunday. That's for sure. And secondly, Dr. James Nicholas said today Joe Klecko and Reggie McElroy, coming back and trying to play off injury, re-injured their knee and would probably need knee surgery. Now back to you in New York, Brent.
All right, Will, thank you. Now, one thing is becoming increasingly clear as we approach the playoffs. Most of the quality teams are in the NFC this year rather than the AFC. Let's go back out live to Denver, and here's Irv Cross. Irv?
Brent, of course, the Washington Redskins came in here determined to get the momentum going for themselves again. Coach Gibbs told us last night he also wanted to continue to improve his pass protection and not have any offensive turnovers. Of course, they've done that again in the first half. But one player in particular came into this game really roaring. I'm talking about George Rogers, a big fullback for the Washington Redskins, who scores here on a 15-yard touchdown run in the second quarter. Here he blasts off his left tackle. George told me last night he was really boiling mad about a comment an old teammate of his made, John Riggins, who said that the Redskins need a big bull back there or something like that as a running back, and Rodgers isn't that kind of a back. Rodgers says, I'm determined to have a big day today, Irv. Oh, by the way, the injury question here, Art Monk said he had a slight sting in his left shoulder. He should be back in the second half. Brent.
All right, Irv, thank you. Billy and Craig, how important is it for these two teams to get onto a positive note going into the playoffs?
Well, they got it. I think you have to. You have to go in with a winning attitude. You know, we did this in 1972. We lost our last two games, and boy, it was tough to come back in that playoffs and get ready for the Green Bay Packers. We did it, but you know, you have to fight it back all the time.
Both teams coming off disastrous weeks last week. The team that loses today is going to have a difficult time going to the playoffs. It's real difficult to get your momentum back after you're playing some good teams and you get thoroughly whipped by some good teams. It's really tough to get your momentum going. It's a tough deal.
Well, we will enjoy the second half, and if we have time, we'll talk to Craig and Billy at the end of the game. But right now, we'll continue with the NFL Today on CBS after these messages from your local stations.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
Wait, Mom, everybody wants to say goodbye. My family loves this cordless phone from Radio Shack. I got it on sale for just $69.95. Save $30. It's really convenient. No cord in the way, and you can dial out or answer from anywhere in the house. Even redial a last number call with one touch. Merry Christmas, Mom. Oh, and thanks for the tie.
The ET395 cordless phone. Sale price for Christmas. Only at Radio Shack.
The simple mention of his initials, LT, evokes a quarterback's most dreaded nightmare. Next Saturday, the Packers take on Lawrence Taylor and the Giants of New York. And on Sunday, a doubleheader day starts with the NFL Today, followed by regional action. Then it's two teams that met last year in a bare 44-0 blowout. But now it's the rematch, and the Cowboys have a shot at revenge. Chicago collides with Dallas next weekend on CBS Sports.
This is CBS.
When an urgent package leaves your hands, make sure the hands you leave it in can deliver. Express Mail overnight service from your post office delivers over city, over state, overnight, over whatever stands in the way. Overnight 97% of the time and climbing for about half what most others charge. 2 pounds, just $10.75. Express Mail overnight service. When we say overnight, we mean overnight.
You always hurt the one you love.
People have a love-hate relationship with their cars. They love them, but they don't always treat them right. Yet, 92% of all Subarus registered since 1975 are still on the road. Now, imagine how much longer they'd last if people didn't love them so much.
See your local Colorado Subaru dealer.
In the rapidly changing world of telecommunications, where the temptation is to wait to see what happens next, you can rest assured there's one company that isn't waiting. Out of the heritage of Mountain Bell, Northwestern Bell, and Pacific Northwest Bell comes U.S. West. Nobody knows the trails better.
Win Super Bowl tickets. Details soon on Channel 7 and Kim Radio.
Halftime score at Denver's Mile High Stadium has the Washington Redskins leading it 13-7. And this is the way the scoring has taken place so far. First of all, Clark and Jones are both out, both receivers for the Redskins. That's a factor. The Redskins rushing yards 93 to Denver's 26. The Redskins also missed an extra point. That's why it's 13-6. And as John Madden has said previously, that is one of those things that can inevitably come back to haunt you.
The NFL takes pride in having created the first charitable foundation in professional sports, NFL Charities. Over the years, NFL Charities has given millions of dollars to help people in communities all across the nation. And this year, contributions will top the $7 million mark.
We try to give back. We try to do it to NFL Charities.
NFL Charities is there, making a difference in the lives of people, educating children to the dangers of alcohol and drug abuse, helping minorities through programs like the United Negro College Fund. NFL Charities helps all kinds of people, children, the aged, minorities, and the poor. The NFL does more than play football. Each team is part of its community, involved in making it better, in giving through NFL Charities. This message furnished by the National Football League.
13-7. The Redskins lead the Broncos at the half. And that tradition of giving continues to grow with today's presentation of a $25,000 grant to the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, whose president, John Erickson, accepts a check from coaches Joe Gibbs of the Redskins and Dan Reeves of the Broncos, who are both active in FCA programs. Pat Summerall again here with John Madden at the halftime. The Redskins, John, it would seem, are getting a little bit thin on the receiver side.
Well, you know, I think that's something that's going to concern them, because when you lose a player like a Gary Clark, then Didier's already out. Jones is going to replace him. He goes down, and you're trying to get back into things. It's a very difficult thing. I think the thing about this second half that the Redskins now are going to have to, again, get control back of the game and keep up with their running. They had 93 yards in the first half. They have to be happy with that. I think for the Broncos to get back in, I think they're going to have to get some running, because they know both these teams can throw the ball.
That was the one thing that Dan Reeves emphasized to us yesterday when we talked with him. We just got to be able to run it, and so far they haven't been able to do it.
Well, you know, up until that last drive there, they only had 1 yard rushing in the first half, and then at the end they got a couple of runs. They got a draw in there, and then, of course, the quarterback draw for the touchdown with John Elway.
And so it's 13-7 at the half, and the second half should be an exciting one. CBS Sports coverage of NFL football will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
Someone put a bender in my left front fender. Leave it to the good hands, people. I got a dent in the door of my 4x4.
Allstate makes an accident a little easier to take. We offer a repair guarantee, and in most cases, we'll give you a settlement on the spot.
I parked in a lot in a place that I trusted, but when I returned, my window was busted. trusted. Leave it to the good hands, people. You're in good hands with Allstate.
A member of the Sears Financial Network.
You know what Santa Claus and a quarterback have in common? We're only successful if our receivers are happy. So I take care of the hands, and take care of me with isotoner gloves. From the hefty running backs to the tall ends, isotoners fit them all. These guys, they love to get isotoners. It's the only time they receive something without getting knocked down. So this season, take care of the hands to take care of you with isotoner gloves.
May I help you?
Experience Panasonic OmniMovie. Capture the magic moments of your life.
Okay, now you're going to make me into a bank. Okay, let's do it. It looks funny. Oops. Wow!
With Panasonic OmniMovie, the camcorder that uses standard VHS tapes and plays them back on your TV.
Wow!
Capturing life's magic moments. Another Panasonic experience, just slightly ahead of our time.
A sparkling gold necklace. A rich gold ring. An I love you madly gold bracelet. Whatever the occasion, indulge her with a gift of gold.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. Toyota, builder of tough, powerful, reliable trucks, Toyota. And by Aris Isotoner men's gloves. Take care of the hands that take care of you.
Set to go with the second half as Rich Carlos will kick off in the direction of Dwight Garner, Eric Yarber, and Keith Griffin. Carlos' kick is high and deep. Garner, a yard deep in the end zone. To the 24. The quarterback comparison in the first half.
You can see they're pretty close and everything, except Schrader has the one TD throwing for it. Of course, Elway has his one. He ran for his. But look at the distance that they threw. But you see, neither one of them been successful deep. Under 10 yards, Schrader got 58 of his yards. 10 to 10, 12 of his yards. 21 yards and 21 to 30. None in 30 to 40 or over 40. So it's been in that short and middle range area.
And both these quarterbacks like to get it upfield. This is Rodgers. Over the right side, maybe 4.
I think one of the good news part is they start this second half for the Redskins has to be that Art Monk is out there.
Right.
Remember, just before the half, he walked off with a little injury, but he's back now.
John Elway over on the sideline. Here's what he did in the first half.
Hey, look again, under 10 yards, 52 of his yards. 10 to 20, 33, 25, none in the long 2 areas.
Which is, as I said, and John said, what both of them like to do. Rodgers. Big George out to about the 39 of Redskins first down. A gain of 11. Rick Dennison tripped him up.
Well, he got right in there between R.C. Thielman and Mark May over there on that right side. You know, Thielman is a guy that has really fit in with this team, playing right guard. He's a veteran, 10 years, been traded from Atlanta. Had a reconstructive surgery, a real serious injury last year. Didn't know if he could come back starting and playing very well.
First down, Washington. Their own 39. Rodgers again. Joe Gibbs said we're going to give him some work, and they're doing it. He got 3. Fletcher on the stop.
Let's watch RC again. Thielman. He's gonna tie right in there to Mecklenburg. You see him right there. Turns him to the outside. Does a nice job. That was Greg Cragen he was blocking. But he got into him and then turned to the outside and put Cragen to his knees.
2nd and 7, and the unpleasant word about Anthony Jones is that he has torn ligaments in his right knee and he's out for the year. 2nd down. come up with it. Incomplete pass. Dennis Smith was the nearest defender. Monk, as you probably heard Irv Cross say at the half, just got a hit on the shoulder. It stung a little bit, but he said and told Irv that he's okay. When they're healthy, Clark and Monk, the top receiving combo in the NFL. Clark out with a bad ankle. Third down and 7. Schrader looking upfield, no flags. Clint Didier was the intended receiver, and he's pointing and gesturing as if someone did something wrong to him, but there are no flags.
Well, the Broncos were gesturing too that Schrader threw it away. Well, that's what he's talking about. Didier had all the right to do that. I'll tell you, Smith hit him in the face, and grabbed his arm. He had a trifecta against Didier.
Well, he got his ankle too as he tried to make his cut.
And that was a quadfecta.
Steve Cox back to punt for Washington. Will Height will field it. Got room. You heard him saying, okay, Gerald. And Gerald gets out to about the 28, stopped by Todd Bowles. 43-yard punt by Cox, 13-yard return. So the Redskins net 30 out of that one. And Denver will take over trailing 13-7.
Hi, give me a light. Bud Light.
If you just ask for a light beer,
Give me a light.
you never know what you'll get.
Give me a light. Bud Light.
So if you want the less smelling light beer with the first name it takes,
The dining car.
don't just ask for a light beer.
Can I have a light?
Ask them to bring out their best.
No. Bud Light.
Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
Firefly.
Toyota, looking out for you with the Toyota 4x4s. They give you power, performance, pure pleasure. Looking out for #1. Who could ask for anything more?
At Dean Witter, we'll help you put your financial life in order with a combination of investments that'll fit your needs just right.
Everybody is somebody at Dean Witter.
A member of the Sears Financial Network.
United, we are temptation.
This winter, United has just what you need. A ticket to someplace else.
We are temptation. Take a winter vacation.
More low fares to more someplace else's than any other airline. Why fight it?
Give in to temptation.
There now. That's the ticket.
We are temptation.
Don't forget, coming up next Saturday, live at 3:45 Eastern Time, the Fighting Illini against Dean Smith and the North Carolina Tar Heels. Number 5 and number 6.
How did they get rated so early?
Well, you win some games.
Yeah, but they didn't play. It's only December. Those guys, they got rated already. They have a Final Four. Look at old Santa Claus down there. He's quite a guy, isn't he?
You get rated before Christmas.
Whether you're naughty or nice, he's still there.
Mobley was the man in motion. Elway fakes, gets it outside to Orson Mobley. Big Orson hits Malott after a gain of 13.
Tell you, you're right, Big Orson. When I saw him in practice yesterday, he was wearing a baseball cap. He fakes a block out there, and then he goes out for the pass. But he's wearing a baseball cap and a sweatsuit. I thought he was a tackle, just fooling around.
I remember I asked you, who is that guy?
Yeah, I thought it was one of the tackles. Did you see him unload at the end with that right arm, shoulder, forearm, hand, and wrist?
It's Will Height and Winder behind Elway. First down Broncos. Here comes a reverse. Vance Johnson around the corner. Gain of about 6. Tim Morrison knocked him out of bounds.
Yeah, one thing about these receivers of the Broncos, other than Steve Watson, they all have great speed. Vance Johnson, Mark Jackson, Clinching. The other thing, they all end in son. To be a receiver, there it is right there. You have to be a receiver, your name has to end in son. Watson, Jackson, Johnson, Sampson. Then if you want to be thrown to as a tight end, your first name has to end in son.
And that would be Orson.
Yeah, we throw to him, 265 pounds, got 3 balls.
Draw play. Winder. Couple short of a first. Curtis Jordan tripped him up with help from Rich Malott.
Sammy Winder lost that left shoe.
Last week I thought the shoe was a pigeon or a pigeon was a shoe.
Wasn't that something? That pigeon was flying out there. That ball hit the pigeon.
Left him delirious, as you said.
Yeah, he staggered around there and stayed right there. We had a delirious pigeon on the field at RFK. Talking about pigeons.
3rd and 1. Dan Reeves wants something to be changed, and he finally gets the attention on the sideline, and the Broncos do call a timeout. Reeves was waving his arms and trying to get the attention, and now he's looking in disgust.
He didn't have a man on the end of the line of scrimmage here on this side. He had an illegal formation.
At least he knew it.
When you're out shopping for the best this busy holiday season, don't forget McDonald's Chicken McNuggets. McNuggets come from only the best cuts of chicken. Plump, tender breast, or juicy thigh. At McDonald's, we know when you use the best cuts of chicken, you get the best nuggets. McDonald's Chicken McNuggets.
It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's.
Call it character. Even nobility, if you like. It should be known as the best of its kind. And most of all, a light beer should be as great as its namesake. That's why there's Bud Light, the light beer with the first name and taste. Everything else is just a light.
Has the energy to outrun the Energizer, even in a photo flash.
Energizer, it's to run, 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 it's to run, run.
No battery outruns the Energizer.
His comeback extraordinary, yet his mission to ignite the Niners to the playoffs is unfinished. Joe Montana leads the 49ers against the Patriots tomorrow on CBS Sports.
We can see why Dan Reeves wanted to take time out. Here's a short yardage offense. That's 11 guys. Then he got +1 Watson out here. Watson's the guy that sees it. Watch him. He knows short yardage. He doesn't belong in there. Watch the right end. Watching the far end of the screen. He's saying timeout. You got 11. You don't want me in here. Now they got 11. Watson's on the sideline.
They discussed it during the timeout. Elway straight ahead to Gerald Wilhite, who stumbled ahead for a gain of 9 before he stopped by Barry Wilburn. And the Broncos get their first down.
I tell you, that's the thing they couldn't do in the first half. They couldn't get any running game going. Here they have their short yardage offense. Now watch it. He's going to pop it right up the middle. It's a trap play. They come across and trap. The right guard, Mark Cooper, made the trap block, and Wilhite broke right off it.
First down from the Washington 42. And Elway back to throw. Drills it down to Wilhite. Flag is down. A gain of 9. They might have hit Elway late.
It's going to be on Dexter Manley. Manley was frustrated. He got double teamed. Watch him here. First the tackle blocks from Remsburg. He's holding him. Then the guard comes out and hits him. Now he's frustrated. He's off that, and he's going to give a kick. He tried to get the left foot to the head.
Number 72, kicking an offensive player. First down.
Kicking an offensive player.
Manley has to be frustrated because he missed him. He took a kick and he missed. But see, now they're taking Manley out because he is frustrated.
Marcus Cook replaces him.
He was frustrated And
now he's just plain mad.
So he took that size 14 and tried to put it to the head.
Mobley goes in motion. Elway looks, and now he takes off and slides inside the 15. A 5-yard scramble by Elway.
Well, that one wasn't an organized one. The touchdown was an organized draw. That one was a scramble. Now the Redskin, Manley's he's still arguing with the official. Here's the last play. We see he's looking, trying to throw right, can't find anyone, and just scrambles up the middle and takes that slide.
Here comes a message.
Illegal contact while the quarterback was still in the pocket prior to the scramble. First down.
Illegal contact prior to the scramble, he said.
Yeah, what he meant was that the illegal contact was now while Elway's trying to throw. There was illegal contact, so now he couldn't throw it. It looked like it was on Hackett, the tight end.
First and goal from the 9. Elway back to throw it again. Outside it goes to Winder. Calvin Daniels right there with him, number 56. Pickup of 3, and Winder a little slow and limping up.
You know, one thing about this, we talked about the running game and how important it is that a guy like John Elway, with his receivers, he needs that running game just to keep things going, to kind of glue everything together. When you don't have it, you don't score any points. Then when you get it, you start moving the ball the way the Broncos are now.
Watson and Johnson split wide to the left. They go with 2 tight ends. Elway gives to Winder, and Winder ties it at 13. Extra point gives the Broncos the lead. .9:34 left in the third quarter, and Denver leads 14-13.
Isn't it a little sparse?
That's the latest thing in trees. Your decorations stand out better.
Is it my imagination, or is the entire tree leaning to the left?
That's normal for the Himalayan spruce.
Well, just out of curiosity, how much are you asking for that?
Well, if it's close to Christmas, I'll let you have it for half price.
At least one thing will always go right this holiday season. Andre Champagne.
And half price is
$80.
Andre Champagne. What would the holidays be without it?
Intriguing, enduring, effusive. Chanel No. 5 presents Eau de Parfum, classic bottle and our new spray.
Looking out for number 1.
The Toyota 1-ton. No truck in its class holds more. It can even out-carry any mid-sized truck.
Looking out for number 1.
Who could ask for anything more?
You want to be up to date, and State Farm is there.
I'm State Farm agent Dave Stoffaker. When the Giulianis bought their first insurance from me, I told them my job didn't end there. It was just beginning. Our family insurance checkup helped keep everything up to date through 2 new cars, 3 new homes, and 3 new daughters. Now the Giulianis tell me they're expecting to be in for another checkup in a few months.
And like a good neighbor,
This time, it may be a boy.
State Farm is there.
The simple mention of his initials, LT, evokes a quarterback's most dreaded nightmare. The Packers meet Lawrence Taylor and the Giants next Saturday on CBS Sports.
is wild. As Carlos kicks off. Short. Garner fields it at the 6. Is knocked down at about the 21. Harden on the stop.
Let's watch a block that Mark Cooper makes right here on Dave Butts. He gets him going this way, then Winder gets a big hole. This is the guy that made the play right there, Mark Cooper. Watch him on Butts, straight ahead, gets him going, keeps him going. Look at that hole in there for Winder to cut back in. Santa Claus could have took it in that hole. Like a bowl full of jelly.
Ricky Sanders put wide to the left and Monk to the right. Warren moves. Terry Orr in the backfield with Rogers. Nothing doing, and there might have been a fumble. Mecklenburg was the first man there.
I'll tell you, if anyone doesn't think that a crowd can pump up a football team, they're crazy. Look at this. You can just feel the intensity level of this Bronco defense. Watch them. They're scrambling, guys jumping, diving, wiving, the whole thing.
Mecklenburg and Hundley. It was Mecklenburg who jumped over the blocker.
I know it.
Kelvin Bryant replaces Rogers. Orr goes in motion. Schrader back to throw with time. Incomplete. He was juggling. Ricky Sanders had it, but without possession.
Watch it here. That's an optional cut. He starts to the inside. Louis Wright has him to the inside, so he slides to the outside. Had it, and as he was going out, he bobbled it. That was a good call. They didn't have it.
Oh, he didn't. 3rd down and 12. Redskins at their own 20. Schrader is 0 for 3 this half, and he'll have to try it again. Rulon Jones out of the blocks in a hurry. Jacoby might have moved.
That's what he's going to say. That's what did happen. Watch Jacoby. He's down there. He's not in a three-point stance. See that little move there? When he moved that left hand, then that was movement. And that said, okay, you can go. Rulon Jones comes across. The penalty's on the Redskins.
And that'll make it 3rd and 17. They're out in a hurry. Sanders wide left, Monk to the right. 3rd down and 17 from the 15.
I wouldn't be surprised if they run it here.
Schrader back. Picked off by Mike Harden. Pass intended for Orr. Broncos get it in good shape. That's the first turnover today, and that's a big one.
You know, that's why I said I wouldn't have been surprised if they run it. I'm not second guessed. I think they had it because they were losing control here. This Denver Bronco team is pumped up. You don't want to force anything. Here, I think Jay Schrader had long yardage. He had to force something. He forces it. There's Mike Harden. He comes up with the interception. I think they would have been better running the ball, getting things back under control.
Elway asked for quiet as the Broncos come out at the Redskin 36. Elway going right to work. Running, throwing in the direction. Charles Mann in the direction of Vance Johnson. Mann and Manley chasing Elway.
I think Elway just threw that ball away. I'll tell you, he's a tough guy, though. You know, you look at both these quarterbacks, they're an awful lot alike. I mean, they're kind of big, tall, strong-armed, blonde-haired, blue-eyed guys, but they're tough guys. I mean, they can stand in there and take those hits and then jump up and go and do it again.
Youth may have something to do with that, too.
That's right. And not a lot of use or abuse on the body.
Orson Mobley split down at the bottom of your picture. Elway looking right. Has Watson, and Watson gets away from one tackler. Curtis Jordan finally brought him down. Morrison hurt his hand or his arm. It was Morrison Morrison that Watson got away from.
Well, he should hurt his hand or his arm the way he tackles there. You can't just reach out and grab like that. Of course, he did fall down. He did slip before that. And Watson gave him a little move. But that's one thing. A defensive back has to be able to cover. And the next thing he has to be able to do is tackle in the open field.
Morrison went out. Alvin Walton, one of the Redskin defensive backs, as they smother that play right at the line of scrimmage after a gain of 1. Olkowitz was the first Redskin there. There's Morrison over on the sideline.
I think he got that when he reached out. I think he dislocated a finger on his right hand. That's what they're doing. They're trying to pop it back in. They just take it and they just pull it. It pops right back in there most of the time.
But it hurts.
You don't look, though.
2nd and 10. Elway drops. Watson. A touchdown, but a penalty marker down at the goal line. Watson came up with a catch.
Barry Wilburn was on him man-to-man, and it's either going to be against Watson or against Wilburn. That's obvious.
Pass interference, number 45 defense. Penalty to come.
Against Wilburn, it's a touchdown.
Well, you're going to see 45 as Wilburn. Now watch him. If the ball's in the air, looked like he hit him with the right hand before the ball got there.
Carlos for the extra point now. 19-yard touchdown from Elway to Watson. Carlos to make it 21-13. And he does. 7:38 now left in the third quarter. Things happening very quickly, and Denver up now by 8 points.
Looking out for you with a powerful new Toyota 4Runner. 4-wheel drive, room for 5, and an unlimited capacity for excitement. Looking out for you has made the Toyota 4Runner #1 in owner satisfaction. Who could ask for anything more?
At first, IBM electric typewriters made typing easier. Then we improved the way typing looked and revolutionized its touch and feel. IBM even fixed the way errors got fixed. Today, IBM wheel writers and quiet writers do things our old typewriters never dreamed of. They're faster, quieter. They have memory and can even signal mistakes as you make them. The typewriters secretaries like best just get better and better.
Give me a light. Ooh, Bud Light.
Great game. If you just ask for a light beer, you never know what you'll get.
Pitcher of light.
Bud Light.
So if you want the Lips Filling light beer with the first name and taste, don't just ask for a light beer.
Give me a light.
Ask them to bring out their best.
Bud Light.
Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
The Denver scoring drive after the interception. 36 yards, 56 seconds is all it took. Elway to Watson. Made it 21-13. Carlos signals that he is ready to kick it off. Garner. Downs it 4 yards deep in the end zone.
Let's watch the pass protection, Pat, on the touchdown here. We can start it off here. We can see how they turn out on both sides. We can stop it right here. Now see the line. They got this thing turned out on the backside. That gives him the lane to throw the ball in. But you see how they turn everything? And then, of course, look at the other end. The great catch by Steve Watson.
Redskins start from their own 20. 7.5 minutes left, third quarter. Schrader back to throw. Underneath to Monk. Monk gets his first down. Gets out of bounds by Dennis Smith. Tomorrow on CBS, the 49ers against the Patriots. Two other teams with the playoffs in mind. And New England's chances look better after the Jet lost today.
Well, and the 49ers, you know, if they can get healthy, they're still one of the best teams in the NFL. All you have to do is ask their opponents.
They don't want to play them. First down, Redskins at their own 37. Rodgers bounces out of the pile, gets up to about the 40, stopped by Jim Ryan. Rodgers got 3.
You see number 57, Tom Jackson? He was in there too on that play. You know, Tom Jackson's been playing in this league for a heck of a long time. In fact, this could be his last game, his last year. 35 years old, 14-year veteran. He used to hate me. He used to come over to the sideline and yell at me. Then I would yell at him from the sideline. Yesterday, he talked to me. I think the reason he talked to me, he had the flu. I think he tried to give it to me. They had the Taiwan flu going around here, this team.
Just before that, you said he was a nice guy.
Well, I thought, you know, he's a nice guy. You know, you get out, you're not coaching anymore, you're not competing, everyone forgets, you shake hands. Then I thought, you know, last time I was here, he didn't talk to me. This time he come over and talked to me. And you know what he said? He said, there's a lot of flu going around here. All the players have it. Don't talk to any of them. Don't let any of them breathe on you.
And then we found out he has it.
Well, he has it. And I was talking to him. He was breathing on me. I got a lot of room for flu and stuff. It can all fit in there and not even bother anything. But I'll tell you, I like that guy. I mean, he's a competitor. He's a fiery guy. I mean, that's what it should be. I mean, you go out and you compete. You don't like anyone, and, you know, you just go after it.
Redskins did not get the play off. It took too much time. 30-second clock expired, and the flag came flying. That'll make it third and long.
Game prior to the snap offense, still third down.
I'll tell you, you know, we talked just before halftime. Remember where the Broncos got their first touchdown? A week ago, that happened when the Giants got a touchdown just before halftime. Against the Giants, it took a lot of wind out of their sails, and I think it did the same thing here today.
No doubt. 3rd and 7. They're back at the 40 now. Schrader up under the center. Art Monk in motion. Broncos put a blitz on. Monk dives and can't come down with it. Dennis Smith was the nearest defender. Schrader was under pressure.
I'll tell you, though, Schrader did make a heck of a throw. I mean, he was back there. He had a little pressure on him, and he threaded that needle between two defenders into Art Monk. The pressure coming from his backside from both Rulon Jones and Carl Mecklenburg. But he got rid of it. Now watch the throw. I mean, he threads that thing right in there. Look, there's a defender on the outside, inside, and he throws it right through. Monk should have had that ball.
Will Height back deep for Denver. Cox's kick is a rocket. Takes a Redskin bounce, bounces backwards, and they down it about the 9. Monty Coleman is down to down it. 51-yard punt by Cox takes the good bounce. 5:40 left, third quarter. Here at Mile High Stadium, it's Denver 21, Washington 13. The Giants entertain St. Louis tomorrow. The NFL today begins at 12:30 Eastern Time. The Eagles will be at Dallas. Dallas still with faint hopes. The Giants looking for that home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Gene Lamb and Winder are the running backs. Winder, nothing doing. Loss of 1. The Minnesota Vikings still with playoff hopes too. Play Houston, 3:30 Eastern time. It begins with the NFL today.
You know, of all those teams that are in it for that last wild card spot in the NFC, looks like Minnesota could have the best shot to be there. Jerry Burns, in his first year as a head coach up there, has done a heck of a job. He really has.
They have become a good, solid team. Winder and Lang behind Elway. John retreats to the end zone. Gets it out to Winder. From behind by Neil Olkowitz with a gain of 9. Kelvin Bryant over on the Redskin bench. They took him into the locker room at the half, I assume for x-rays, and then he came back out.
I think he has to be hurt, and I don't think you'd be that down with this score in this situation of the game. I think there's some injury he has. Something's bothering him, and it's not the score in the situation.
3rd and 2 at the 16 as Elway brings him out. Now is the lone setback. Redskins showing an all-out rush. Elway tried to get it outside to Vance Johnson. Darrell Green out there on the coverage. And Monty Coleman out there to help. And he put the pressure on Elway.
I think that was a big series for the Redskin defense because they're going to get good ball position here, good field position. I think that was a big play by Darrell Green.
Horan will be back to kick. Eric Yarber back deep for the Redskins. 4:07 left to play in the 3rd quarter. Broncos using as much of the clock as they can. Trying to get all those Redskins picked up. They snap it with 1 second left to go. Not a good kick. Yarber. Upended by Tony Lilly, but a good return by Yarber. 39-yard punt and a 28-yard return.
I'll tell you, that's a great return. When a guy can come up and end it up something like that, that guy's going to make all Madden for this one. Watch that. There's no fair catches in this deal. This guy's only 5'8", just activated for this game. Watch him. I mean, he's a reckless runner. What? Jump, dive, twirl, spin.
Whatever.
Well, and hold on to it throughout that. Yeah, that's a look. Look, he's happy. I mean, that helmet hardly fits the head.
Just activated. The Redskins, as you said, do indeed have it in good shape. Inside the Bronco 30. George Rogers behind Terry Orr in the backfield. Rogers. Picked up a couple. Andre Townsend made the stop.
See, I think that was a big series. When you go back to look at this game, that was a big series when the Redskins could hold them without a first down. Keep them down there.
Quieted the crowd down noticeably.
Yeah, then they get good field position. They get a good punt return. Now they can get back into this game.
Kelvin Bryant back in the game. Monk is wide right. Sanders wide left. 2nd and 8. Two tight ends lined up side by side. They come in that direction to Bryant. Bryant spins down to about the 21. Cragen on the stop. Gain of 3. For those of you who might not know, Pittsburgh beat the Jets earlier today, 45-24. Abercrombie had 3 touchdowns. Another long day for O'Brien. Sacked 5 times, intercepted 3 times. The Jets just can't get on track. They started off 10-1, and now they can't do anything right. 3rd and 5. Big down here. Schrader checking the defense. Starts Monk in motion. He'll be looking at him. Flag down. Monk had it, lost it. Tony Lilly on the coverage, but it's going to be a holding penalty against the Redskins.
That had to be one that was late, that happened right in front of the quarterback because Jerry Seaman, the referee, called it. And that's usually a late holding. Because if it's an early one, the umpire calls it. If it's on the side, then the side guy does.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Number 73 offense. Penalty be declined. 4th down.
Mark May, and I was about to ask you if you would decline this.
Yeah, see right there, Mark May gets it right there. See now, the referee is right behind Schrader. See the flag come out? He saw that right at the end.
Schrader stays to hold for Zendejas, who will try from 41 yards out.
Yeah, I would think that I would make Zendejas kick it. Yeah, I think this is a very, very shaky kicker.
From 41 yards out, Schrader to hold. Good snap. No good kick. Broncos will take over. 2:19 left, third quarter.
That's worse than a very shaky kicker. That could be close to being gone kicker. I think it happened in San Francisco. He just, got all shook up about that grass, and then he's playing here on grass, and I don't know that he can even get the ball up over the line anymore. Watch it. This is a line drive hooked. I mean, that didn't even have a chance. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the Redskins had another shot here. I wouldn't be surprised if they let Steve Cox kick it.
Elway, draw play. And the Redskins smother Gerald Wilhite just as soon as he gets the ball. A loss of 3. It's Manley and Olkowitz who read the draw play.
One thing with Jay Schrader, even though he doesn't have Gary Clark in there in his arm, you don't want to put this thing into Cruz too soon. I'm talking about the Broncos. I mean, I don't think you want to get too conservative too soon.
That's always a mistake too often made. Elway drops back to throw it. Incomplete. Intended for Wilhite. Covered by Malott. Going back to the game summary, the Broncos have scored 21 straight points. Jones and Clark are out again for the Redskins, and Tejas has had a long afternoon.
Well, that's 8 points. And one was a long field goal, and 6 points in the field goal and the extra points.
So it's third down. Elway. Again, it's a planned draw play, and this time he is hammered by Monty Coleman. Looking for someplace to go, and Denver will have to punt.
Well, and the Redskins again are going to get good offensive position. This Redskin defense is doing the job now to keep that position. Now the offense has to take advantage of it once they get out there.
Yarber goes back deep. Michael Horan has punted 5 times today, average 44. That's good enough. But the last one, Yarber almost broke, put the Redskins down in field goal range. Good kick. At his 35. Into a pack of Broncos. Back to the 45. A return of 10. Washington takes over its own 45. 38 seconds remaining in the third quarter. That's the real thing.
I wonder, is there anyone up there that there's no people? We put some stuff up there. We never put any people up there.
There's some stuff up there.
Yeah, there's no guys up there like watching the game or anything.
No, there's supposed to be one guy up there.
There is a guy up there?
The man, the man in the moon. Sanders. The Bronco 35.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to. I never want to go up there. You know, a lot of people say someday I want to go. You can put in your thing. I'm not going. I'm not one of them. They can have it, not me. I have trouble on trains now. I
was going to say, there's no trains going up there. You
oh,
can't
I
get
know
there.
it. I went through Sing Sing the other night in a prison break. Whew.
They wouldn't let you out of there even. That's the end of the third quarter with the score, Denver 21, Washington 13. And we now pause for a word from your local station.
This is CBS.
We're here on Mount Evans to see which four-wheel drive vehicle has the power to pass the other.
How do they look, Doug?
John, with Jeep's new six-cylinder, 173 horsepower fuel injection engine, those other stiffs don't stand a chance.
And it looks like.
It is. Jeep's new PowerTech engine takes it.
Come to the big wheels for big deals on these powerful new Jeep vehicles today.
Boy, this announcing stuff is great. I can't believe I'm getting paid for this.
You got paid?
It's over.
What's over?
Life, my friend.
They killed his partner. His response,
With or without your help,
was simple.
I'm gonna get him.
No mercy.
You don't know New Orleans. They don't even talk like us.
He'll come from me. That's what you want.
Get out of the car!
Richard Gere, Kim Basinger. No Mercy. Rated R.
Search Friday, December 19th at a theater near you.
We're so excited about the new Vail Advance Purchase lift tickets, we called out the troops.
1, 2, say 5.
Have you heard the latest jive?
Ski and Vail for 25.
Ski for less from peak to peak.
Here at Vail and Beaver Creek.
Sound off! Give me a laugh!
Ski Vail and Beaver Creek for $25. Just march into any Front Range King Supers.
And make it snappy!
Win Super Bowl tickets. Details soon on Channel 7 and Kim Radio.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Kentucky Fried Chicken. Kentucky Fried Chicken, we do chicken right. And by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light.
One more quarter to go. Pat Summerall, John Madden. We're at Mile High Stadium, where the Broncos lead the Redskins 21-13. Redskins give to Rodgers. Rodgers cuts back right side down to about the 31. Ricky Hundley tripped him up after a gain of 4. Their favorite play.
You know, the Redskins have plenty of time, but they're down 8 points, meaning that they need 2 scores. And this is where I'm sure they wish they had Gary Clark.
Second down and 7. They're at the Bronco 31.
They're probably going to run again. Kelvin Bryant usually comes in the passing, and Rodgers in for the run.
Rodgers is the deep back. Rulon Jones. After Schrader. Pass is ruled incomplete. Sanders saying I had it. Louis Wright, the defender. Steve Cox getting ready, putting on the square toe, and indeed, if they have to kick again, it would seem it's going to be Cox.
You know, he was trying to bring Ricky Sanders back, and he did. He brought him back too much, and he one-hopped it in there.
He had the pressure from Rulon Jones. He had to let go. Now Bryant's in.
Broncos have had good pressure, but they have yet to sack Schrader today.
Bryant, the intended receiver, incomplete. They put the pressure on again. Here comes Cox.
You know, we would know one thing, that Cox can get at that distance.
He's had a 55-yarder earlier in the year. Made a 57-yarder as well. He's got the leg.
And then with this altitude, you know that he can get it there.
This will be 48. 21-16. 14:07 left in the contest, and Denver lead is now 5.
Howdy. Give me a light. Bud Light.
If you just ask for a light beer, you never know what you'll get.
Give me a light. A Bud Light.
So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, don't just ask for a light beer.
Give me a light. Bud Light.
Ask for Bud Light, because everything else is just a light.
Hi. Oh. Buy your friend a beer.
You're really on the move. So you need a bank that can keep pace with you, while only First Interstate can cash its customers' personal checks in more states and cities than any other bank system. So come to First Interstate. We're not just keeping pace, we're setting the pace.
Why you bothering me, boy? Are you crazy?
I'm a chicken hawk and you're a chicken. Are you coming quietly or do I have to muss you up?
You're going at it all wrong, son. You gotta go to Kentucky Fried Chicken if you want to catch America's favorite chicken. It's a great place to get a great meal. No one makes tender, juicy chicken like the Colonel. It's finger-licking good. Here, son, let me give you a lift.
We treat chicken right.
Tomorrow, two teams fighting for the playoffs square off as the 49ers battle the Patriots. San Francisco is led by the explosive passing attack of Joe Montana to Jerry Rice. The Niners need a win in their drive to the playoffs. They'll be battling an explosive Patriots team who also need a win as the AFC playoff race goes down to the wire. That's tomorrow, starting with the NFL today at 12:30 Eastern Time. That ought to be a good match. Both teams needing a victory. Both teams trying to keep playoff hopes alive as these two both desire a victory. Denver 21 and Washington 16. 14:07 left to play. Steve Cox, who just hit the 48-yard field goal, will kick off. A knuckler, going to be tough to handle. Makes its way into the end zone, and they keep it there. Does Gene Lang.
Well, you don't see that much, Pat. Dean Hamill is on the kickoff and punt coverage of these Redskins. He's already made a couple tackles today, but there's a big 275-pound guy running down on kicks.
And he's usually one of the first ones down there.
I know, and he got some stuff there. Watch him now. The thing's out of the back. He just looks for a guy to run over. They just bump in there and say, well, what are you doing on this team?
Why do we want to...
Little fast guys.
Why do we want to continue this? Elway to Winder. Winder outside the 25 to the 26 and a gain of 6. Olkowitz tripped him up.
I'll tell you, the left guard, Keith Bishop, got a good block. I think you'll see Dave Butts is going to come through. Watch Butts here. He's coming through. See him 65? Now watch Bishop there. Just knock him down when he's getting ready to make the play, and then that's what opened the hole. You know that Keith Bishop's a pretty good-looking guy for an offensive lineman.
He sure is.
Usually they're not good-looking.
Well, they don't work at it much. Elway. Mark Jackson on the money. Darrell Green stopped him, but a Bronco first down, a gain of 17.
There we have Jackson out here. Now, again, he has great speed and great quickness. You know, he's one of those guys that can run full speed and still make a move off of it. He's going to be something. He's only a rookie, but he has all those abilities that you have to have. Someday I think he'll be the starter, then someday I think he'll be a star in this league.
He's got those same attributes that a Duper and a Clayton have. Draw play to Winder. Olkowitz, the first Redskin to hit him. A gain of 2.
I'll tell you, when you run in there in that middle of that Redskin line and you have Dave Butts there and Darrell Grant on the other side and Olkowitz in the middle, you're running into a real strength. So you have to do things. You have to, like, trap them. You have to influence them. You have to do things because you just can't overpower them.
2nd and 8. Wilburn comes out with Watson to Elway's right. He never got the ball snapped. Everybody left, and the ball was still there.
Yeah, that's the center. I mean, he's the guy that knows. You know, no, he can never be offsides.
False start prior to the snap, number 7 offense.
Sometimes the quarterback gets up there, Pat, and he forgets the starting count. You know, and he'll start out there, and that's what happened. Elway started out. Butts was on the center's nose, Billy Bryant. So, of course, when Elway moves, then Butts can go. And Bryant probably said, oh, no. And when your quarterback moves and you're the center, all you can do is just kind of hunker in there and take it.
And that's exactly what he did. 2nd and 13. Elway looking almost caught by Mobley. He got one hand on it. Monty Coleman was covering him.
I'll tell you, here we go. Here we see a double team. See, Bryan this time has to pass protect Butts. Cooper started out on him, then Bryan goes. The play is over. Butts gives one more. Boom, Bryan gives one more. Butts gives one more. There's about 3 loads after the play.
3rd and 13. Pressure on Elway. Man chases. He gets it to Mark Jackson. Does Elway, and that's going to be a little bit shy of a first down.
I don't know that it is. It depends on how they mark this. I think it is the first. Jackson did a heck of a job. He was right in front of that marker, and he just stood there.
So did Elway do a heck of a job.
Well, yeah, he throws it, but watch him just stand there. See, he didn't work back, so he had the first down. He's working on Wilburn here. Now watch him. He gets back there. Now he goes back to the sideline, just stands right there. He can't work back anymore. He'd lose the first down.
That's an excellent play by both. Winder is the lone setback, and that's Mobley in motion. Elway back to throw. Watson, and he has it and out of bounds inside the Redskin 20. Week after week.
He was set up with great pass protection. The Bronco line in this second half has really come on. They had a blitz. They gave Elway time. Look what he could do. Here's Watson working against Barry Wilburn. See, he started in there, and then he let him get deep. Now, I would think there should have been a safety over there. Wilburn looked like he was playing short, expecting deep help.
Watson goes left, along with Mark Jackson this time. Draw play, Winder. And Sammy Winder scrambles out of the pack and gets down to about the 13. 4 tough yards. Rich Malott brought him down finally.
Let's see that play again, the big play. Here's Steve Watson. Here's Wilburn. Wilburn hits him here and lets him get by. It looks like he expected something over here that he didn't get. But watch it down here in the bottom. See, he gets the bump. Now Watson gets beyond him. Looked like that safety was going to come over. He took a bad angle and didn't get over. The same thing happened to him last week against the Giants.
Elway looking right. Mark Jackson. At about the 1. Darrell Green was the closest Redskin. A gain of 12.
I said Mark Jackson was going to be a star in the league someday. That day may be now.
Today.
Oi. H-O-Y means today.
Clock running, 9.5 minutes left to play. Jackson has 4 catches for 51 yards. Hackett and Mobley, the 2 tight ends lined up to the right. Rimsberg and and Studdard to the left. Studdard on the outside. A lot of popping going on in there. Gerald Wilhite attempting to get in, and he didn't. Monty Coleman made the first hit for the Redskins.
I'll tell you, the Redskins have had 2 tough weeks. They're a team, they already know they're in the playoffs. They have to be wondering what they're going to do.
They need to get some people well, is one of the things they need to do. Broncos are in and playing for the home field advantage throughout the playoffs. It is Sammy Winder into the end zone, Broncos. Second touchdown for number 23. And the crowd is back on their feet. Carlos for the extra point with Kubiak holding.
Number 85 lead. He's going to lead and trap right there. Winder is running off the trap. He has a hole into the end zone.
And so with 8.5 minutes left to play, the Broncos now lead 28-16 over the Redskins.
You begin with raw steel. Shape it with fire, muscle, and sweat. Polish it to razor-sharp perfection. We're looking for a few good men with a medal to be Marines.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
The kids really like what we got them for Christmas. Radio Shack Space Patrol walkie-talkies. They're terrific outdoor fun. They have flexible antennas to withstand rugged use. And built-in Morse code keys with the code alphabet on the front, so they can talk or send messages in code. The kids like them, and I love them. Come in, Space Patrol. Time to report for dinner.
Space Patrol walkie-talkies, only at Radio Shack.
There's a fire-breathing creature Chrysler has imported from Japan. Conquest TSI. The intercooled turbo coupe built by Mitsubishi. So hot it'll smoke the 300ZX and RX-7. Conquest TSI. Now at your Chrysler dealer.
His comeback extraordinary, yet his mission to ignite the Niners to the playoffs is unfinished. Joe Montana leads the 49ers against the Patriots tomorrow on CBS Sports.
8:32 left to play. Rich Carlos set to put the bare foot on the kickoff. White Garner in the middle. For the Redskins, Keith Griffin to his left and Todd Bowles to his right. He hit the ground behind it. Garner will operate. Hit from behind by Hundley. And Rick Dennison brought him down.
Now there's the guy hustling out there to get the tee. I like that.
Turn it on now.
Well, look at that face. I mean, that's determination. Bring it back. Give me 5.
Nice going.
I'll tell you, he's proud of himself.
I got it.
What a job. Now he wants to get some hits.
Going back for some oxygen. Washington ball. Kelvin Bryant in the game. Washington their own 23. Schrader will have to throw it almost every down from here on, and does. To Didier. And Clint gets to the 45. A gain of 22. Randy Robbins on the stop. tomorrow on CBS, the NFL Today. That's one of the games you'll be seeing, the 49ers at New England. It begins at 12:30 with the NFL Today. Clock is running. Redskins hurrying. Denver leading 28-16. His time, and he has Art Monk, and Monk is in the end zone for the Redskins. A strike from Schrader from 55 yards out. Dennis Smith was the nearest Denver defender, but a shot from Schrader to Monk.
I'll tell you, with the arm that Jay Schrader had, and we said this earlier, that you can't start to sit on the lead. The Broncos didn't. The Broncos just scored, and then the Redskins come right back. Watch outside. Monk there is hit by Louis Wright early. Smith is the second guy in that zone. He lets Monk get behind him. And I'll tell you, with Monk behind him and Schrader's arm, you know it's going to be a touchdown.
Zendejas in to try the extra point. Schrader will hold. That one's down the middle. 28. 23. 7.5 minutes left to play. Marker down on the extra point, however.
Offside. Number 49 defense. Extra point is good. 5-yard penalty will be assessed on the succeeding kickoff.
But Dennis Smith had two tough plays. A touchdown pass over him. Then he lines up offsides.
Washington keeps it close. 28-23. Denver leads.
The Winning Edge, brought to you by Seagram's Golden Wine Cooler. The winning edge doesn't always result from defensive dominance or offensive excellence. Often the special teams provide the clincher. Denver's Rick Upchurch could break a game open on a change of possession. One of the NFL's most feared special teams players, he scored an NFL record 8 touchdowns on punt returns. Providing either the quick score or excellent field position, Upchurch was the Broncos' secret weapon, one that gave them the winning edge.
It's party time!
Get 24C, Mickey. Hey, no Seagram's Golden Wine Cooler? You guys want to put me out of a job? Oh, we're bound. So, you know I was coming?
No. I knew they were coming.
You must be doing something right.
You did one thing right.
He came home for the holidays.
All right, a quick scoring update of the day on our way back to Pat and John. Let's start with college basketball. St. John's defeated UCLA at Madison Square Garden. DePaul goes into Louisville and beats the Cardinals. Georgetown, a winner earlier this afternoon on CBS. And in the NFL, you may have seen this score, the Steelers over the Jets, 45-24. Tomorrow, we'll be on the air at 12:30 Eastern Time with the NFL Today. The big early game, the San Francisco 49ers take on the New England Patriots. Then the rest of our lineup here on CBS looks this way. And some of you, especially in the Minneapolis area, won't want to miss this one. The Minnesota Vikings are down in Houston. The Vikings with a chance to make the playoffs. Let's go back to Denver. Here's Pat Summerall and John Madden.
Washington just scored, and Denver leads 28-23 with 7.5 minutes left to play. Ken Bell and Gene Lang back deep for the Broncos, and Steve Cox all set to kick off for the Redskins. Another line driver that bounces over the heads and out of the end zone. Cox kicking off that time from the 40 after the penalty on the extra point. Jay Schrader, Clint Didier. New Redskin record, and he broke the record held by that man, Sonny Jurgensen. No one ever threw it better. He does Redskin radio.
I don't think Sonny knew that it was broken. I think he's just hearing now. They Sonny, he just broke your record. Huh? Oh, Sonny just heard it. What?
Not supposed to do that. Jackson in motion. Elway Going back to throw. Incomplete, intended for Joey Hackett, sorry. Looking for a flag, but there are none.
I'll tell you, it could be slippery out there, Pat, because Joey Hackett fell down, and Curtis Jordan fell down, and one other defender fell down. There were like 3 guys fell down all around that ball.
That stretch of the field is pretty well worn. 28-23, excuse me, John.
This field is one of those new grass prescription turf field or something, and they have heaters underneath it. A lot of fancy stuff here.
Elway back to throw again. Looking for Mobley. And he comes down with it. Big Orson Mobley. He didn't know the ball was anywhere close to him.
Hey, that was a great adjustment, though. A great side adjustment. You see Monty Coleman, a linebacker, number 51, is isolated on him out here as a wide receiver. Look at that ball is thrown right up over his right shoulder. That was a heck of an adjustment. But see, they can't put a defensive back on him because they already got their defensive backs or corners on 2 wide receivers. So they put Mobley out here, and then the Redskins have to counter with that linebacker.
Winder and Lang are the 2 runners now. Clock running. Elway will take his time. The 30-second clock got down to 8 before he did anything. And Winder goes to the 45-yard line of the Redskins. Rich Malott tripped him up. Winder got 3.
Well, you know what that pass did? That got the Broncos out in a position where now, if they don't make the first down, or if they can't kick a field goal, at least they're going to back the Redskins up and make them have to drive the length of the field. So that was a big play.
2nd and 7, 28-23. Denver leads. Watson comes wide to the right. Jackson goes to the left. They use 2 tight ends. Mobley was the man in motion. It's out to Mobley. He is hit and hit hard by Alvin Walton. That pass completion only got a yard, but it keeps the clock running.
You know, it's one thing. We had the story about Clarence Kay, who's a normal starting tight end for the Broncos, and he was suspended by Dan Reeves, and he was put on the reserve list for drug use. But maybe that's something that's helping this team. I mean, maybe if Kay were here, you wouldn't see Mobley doing what he's doing, or a Hackett playing. I mean, sometimes these guys are making big plays, and the reason they're playing is because Kay is on reserve.
That'll make it 3rd and 6. 4 wide receivers for the Broncos. Elway underneath Charles Mann, the 3rd sack.
You know, that's that same place. Elway slips in that same area where the receiver slipped. Watch him. Now he sees a rush coming, too. There's a big rush. He starts to get back. He just slips. His knee just went buckle right out from under. You see that?
I think they had him anyway. They had him surrounded, and Mann was right in front of him.
Oh, yeah. He was going to go down one way or another, whether he caused it or they caused it.
Loss of 11. Moran back to kick. And Eric Yarber standing back at the 10 for the Redskins. 28-23 the score. Broncos leading. 4.5 minutes left to play. Fair catch signal. The Redskins will take over at the 16. 1st and 10 Redskins. A 44-yard punt by Horan. Make it the 11-yard line instead of the 16. That's where they'll start from. Redskin offensive unit out. They trail by 5 with still enough time remaining and all 3 of their timeouts remaining. The playoff picture.
You know, the team that has to be the most excited right now are those New York Giants. I'm sure they're watching this. They play tomorrow. But if the Redskins lose, then they would clinch the Eastern Division today.
Sanders is wide left. Monk wide right. Schrader back. Hit Kelvin Bryant. Tom Jackson was the nearest defender. That ball could have been caught, should have been caught.
I think it went right through his hands and hit him on his shoulder pad. Let's look at it again. It looks like it hit him right on the left shoulder, didn't it?
Came popping out of there.
I mean, that's one thing. Schrader does drill the ball. It just goes right through his hands and hit his shoulder pads.
Same formation. Didier and Warren, the two tight ends, lined up side by side. They're over on the right. Schrader back to throw. Rulon Jones in his face for Didier. Pass picked off by Mike Harden. His second interception of the day. Still more room for Harden. Run down from behind by Art Monk. That should lock it up.
He was trying to hit Clint Didier. Watch Didier's the inside guy coming right down here, right down the middle. Now, he's man-to-man by Smith. Harden is the safety. Harden reads it, comes over. Didier had Smith beat. That's who Schrader was looking at, but he didn't see Harden.
31-yard return with the interception by Harden. First down, Broncos at the Redskins 15. Winder and Wilhite. Winder over the left side. No gain. Tripped up by Darrell Grant. Jay Schrader showing a little frustration off these last 2 weeks. I think you'd have to.
Well, you know, that was his second one. He had 6 interceptions last week. I know what he saw that time. He saw Didier. He saw Dennis Smith on a man-to-man. He saw him man-to-man, and he thought he had Smith beat, but he didn't see Harden, who was sitting back there as a free safety, who came across.
Second, and now about 11 at the 15. Winder's the lone setback. Watson is out to the right. Elway looks in that direction. Now throws it away.
He did throw that one away. He threw it darn near into the south stands.
He sent that ball in to be x-rayed.
Look, he's going like that. I think that means runner. I think what he means is give me some runners. Doesn't that mean when you go like that?
That's what it means to me. I don't think he wants to come out of there.
I think he has his receivers, which would be like 4 wide receivers, or his runners, which would be running backs.
He would want to be careful here of an interception, of course, with the score 28-23.
And he has his 2 running backs in there, so that's what he was asking for, running backs.
A field goal here would mean the Redskins really had some work to do. Got a man open. It was Jackson, but he couldn't get it there. And now Carlos will come on. This will make it, if Carlos is good, 31-23. And that missed extra point early in the game looms as a factor once again.
Once you miss an extra point in any football game, it always seems to come back to haunt you. And because of that, they really didn't have to force the touchdown here. They can be satisfied with the field goal.
This will be from 32 yards out for Carlos. 3:14 left to play. Carlos is perfect. And now they increase the lead to 8. Playoff hopes alive. The Patriots, the host team, now lead the Jets in the AFC East by a half game as the Jets lost today. That's just one of the games you'll see on CBS tomorrow. Mile High City is rocking right now.
Yeah, this is one of those places we sit up here in the booth, you can feel the place rock.
Had a lot of parades here this weekend too.
Yeah, they're celebrating. They had a parade the other night. They had one this morning. You notice one last night? Denver's a good town because of the altitude for parades.
Yeah, the instruments aren't as heavy at this altitude.
Yeah, that, and the tube is always full.
Carlos to kick off. I don't see anybody sitting down.
I don't see anyone leaving either.
High kick in deep to Dwight Garner, right at the goal line. And cut down at the 20. Randy Robbins knocked him down. We started off slowly at Mile High Stadium here in Denver, but since then the scoreboard has been clicking, and Denver just scored again. 31-23 they lead. Elway's thrown for one, rushed for one. Anthony Jones and Gary Clark, both receivers for the Redskins. Clark, their outstanding wide receiver, has been injured. He has a bad left ankle and is out. Hurt it early. And that obviously has hurt the Redskins and Jay Schrader. Elvin Bryant behind Schrader this time. Exactly 3 minutes left to play. Schrader back to throw. Monk open. Mike Harden twisted him down. Gain of 27. They'll move the sticks. Monk's had a big day.
Redskins are going without a huddle because, again, with just a little over 2 minutes, they have to think in terms of two scores. They need a touchdown and a field goal.
They have all their timeouts remaining. Clock is running. Schrader back. Didier to the Bronco 40. And again, they line up in a hurry. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Denver Broncos and the National Football League is prohibited. Schrader back again. Incomplete, intended. Sanders. Tony Lilly applied the leather.
I'll tell you, he applied all the leather he had. Tony Lilly was in there, saw Sanders coming to the inside, and he really teed off on him. Well, watch Lilly. He's number 22. That's what those safeties, anytime a receiver comes to the inside, they want to make him pay. Watch Lilly unload. Look.
He paid. 1 second to go. They've got one more play before the 2-minute warning. Then they have all three timeouts remaining. The 1-foot line. Clint Didier playing with a broken bone in his right hand. Down at the 1-foot line by Randy Robbins. A gain of 39, and this one isn't over.
Didier has always been a big play guy for these Redskins. Remember, Joe Gibbs said last night he's not going to be able to block because he can't hit, but we can use him as a receiver.
He bounced into the end zone. They spotted at the 1-foot line.
Whether it's a simple office phone or a large custom-tailored telecommunications system, whether it's voice only or voice and data, digital switching, transmission equipment, tie lines, Watts lines, multiple long-distance hookups, there's one company that can do it all. No, GTE.
If you just ask for a light beer, you never know what you'll get.
Thoughts? No, actually, Bud Light.
So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, ask for Bud Light.
Yours? No.
Because everything else...
Give me a light. Showtime!
It's just a light.
Automatic teller. Can I help you with a student loan?
No, a car loan, Leona. Fast forward.
Home improvement loan.
Hey. It's a General Motors car. Don't get hassled when you finance a new car or truck. Get GMAC financing only at your GM dealer.
Is there someone live I could talk with around
Do we
here?
have one of our calendars? This is a farm calendar. We also have what they call a print calendar. If I can only find it.
A minute 53 remains. 31-23 Denver over the Redskins. The Redskins at the Denver 1-foot line.
Look at that, they got their big old heavy jumbo offense in there. Now you take out the quarterback because he's not going to block anyone, and the running back is Rodgers, who's going to carry the ball. This thing weighs a total 2,427 pounds, this group. They average 270 pound a guy. Now that's a heavy jumbo.
That's well described.
You got jumbos and you got your light and medium, and this is the old heavy jumbo. That'll just push the whole thing back into the end zone.
George Rodgers is the deep back. He'll carry the ball more than likely. Schrader. It's Rodgers. I don't think he made it.
These are big plays for the Bronco defense. Because they have to take off because they want the Redskins to have to use time or timeouts. Because the Redskins need this, then they need another score.
Rodgers again. Didn't make it again. Reagan was the first man there, and that precious time clicks down.
If the Redskins take a timeout, there's no one that plays better goal line than the Denver Broncos. We were talking to Joe Gibbs about that last night. That's what he said. He said they practice in training camp 15 minutes a day just on goal line charges. He said he's never heard of anyone else ever doing that. He said we have some stuff for it, something special, but they are really tough.
And they always have been.
They always have been. The Broncos have always played, and that's Joe Collier, who's always been here, have always played the best goal line defense that's ever been played. Kansas City was tough at one time, so was Pittsburgh.
Redskins had it first and goal at the 1-foot line. And now it's 3rd and goal from the 1-foot line.
Well, the big thing that it did is taken time off the clock. One, it's also made them use one timeout, which they didn't want to do because the longer it takes, the more they're going to be forced to go for an onside kick. Had they scored right away and kept their timeouts, they wouldn't have had an onside kick. Now, by not scoring, they're using their timeouts. I think they're going to have to onside kick if they do score.
And I think if they do score, we're going to see some of those special things that Joe Gibbs was talking about. I don't know what they are.
It may be a pass to one of those jumbos.
Could be. Rodgers is the deep back. They fumble the snap. Rodgers gets in nevertheless. He almost dropped the ball for the second time on the exchange from the center. And that may have set something up.
I'll tell you, Jay Schrader's come up with a couple big plays on those things. That's what you get for having big, strong hands. You can do that. That ball's out there, but he's able to grab it, get it out, falling down, tripping, and still get that ball to George Rodgers. I'll tell you, that was a great play by Jay Schrader. Look at that, fumbling the ball, falling down, tripping, and getting it out there. Whoa.
He just disappeared for a minute. Tejas extra point is good. And it's 31-30. And you go back to the early time after the first Redskin touchdown, and this is the difference.
I'll tell you, and that thing just sits up there the whole game.
A minute 28 left to play. Denver 31, Washington 30. Washington has 2 timeouts. The Broncos have 2 timeouts remaining. Redskins are going to have to try that onside kick.
Well, that's what they're talking about. Both sides are huddled up. There's no players on the field. That's the Broncos. They're talking about their onside prevent. Over on the other side, the Redskins are probably talking about an onside kick. Had they not used one of their timeouts, I would say they shouldn't onside kick. with only 2 timeouts, I think they probably have to onside kick.
They're meeting at the summit on both sides of the field. Wayne Sevier is the special team coach for the Redskins, and they work on this continuously. Now, Cox, being a straightaway kicker, can't really maneuver the ball like a soccer-style kicker can.
But knowing Wayne Sevier, the Redskins will have some type of play. In other words, they'll line up, then they'll shift or move and do something, and then, you know, have some kind of kick and a bunch of guys run to the same side or something. They just won't dribble the ball down there. They'll have a shift and a movement and all that stuff.
Pretty hard for him to go to his right with an onside kick. He'd almost have to come this way.
Yeah, then I would think that those guys that are on his right will shift over to this side. Some kind of shift.
He's lined up as if he is coming in this direction. Broncos obviously expecting it. Through the pack and fielded by Wilhite on the fly. He doesn't take any chances.
I have no idea what that was. That's what Joe Gibbs is saying. He said, well, what was that? We didn't have a chance. Redskins didn't have a chance to get that. I don't understand that one. It wasn't a regular deep kick, nor was it an onside. Boy, that'll make you shake your head.
That'll make the flight a little bit longer. Going back.
Here's his reaction to that kick.
That's Wayne Sevier. He is discussing it with, if you could call it that. 1:24 remaining. Winder and Wilhite behind Elway. Redskins with 2 timeouts left. Back to Wilhite. Got 7, maybe 8. Curtis Jordan tripped him up, and the Redskins call their second timeout. So they have 1 remaining. The coordinating producer of the NFL on CBS is Charles H. Milton III. Our cohesive producer, Robert D. Stenner. Directed so capably and ably as always by Sandy Grossman. The NFL Today's staff and our staff. You look at all that list. We travel a pretty good package, don't we?
Well, I mean, you can't say all those guys were here. See, some of those guys were in the studio, too, that are on this. We did have one guy that was on there who's the associate producer, Richie Zients, and today's his birthday. So I think we can say happy birthday to Richie Zients. He's getting at an age now where he has to start calling himself Richard.
And has to stop keeping track of birthdays.
Yeah, and has to wear regular shoes and stuff.
And maybe someday he'll be Richard Zients III or something. That's like right. That.
I'll tell you, I think these Redskins did what they had to do today, Pat. I mean, they're not going to win this game, and the Giants are going to clinch their division, but I think that, you know, they had some tough things happen to them offensively. I think they came back and got that in today.
Elway takes it straight ahead. The Redskins take their last timeout. They stop the clock with 1:12 remaining, and that's all they can do. Elway got the first down. Did you see Gerald Wilhite? He did a backflip, standing back by the huddle.
Well, that's how you celebrate. The crowd starts to get fired up, and that's Wilhite's celebration. So he just does a backflip back in the hut. Look, he's checking his back. Used to be able to do that when you're a rookie. You get a little older, it gets harder to celebrate.
He looked like Greg Louganis back there.
But I think these Broncos on their side, I think they have a good shot for the whole thing, because there's no one in the AFC that has stepped up as the dominant team. And these guys are as close to it as anyone else. In fact, right now, they're probably better than anyone else in the AFC.
Well, for the moment, they got more victories than anybody else. Again, we remind you that tomorrow, another big day here on CBS, the 49ers in New England. Clutch game for both of those. The NFL today at 12:30. That's just one of the games you'll be seeing. There's another one. The Cardinals at the Giants.
You know, I think we can congratulate the Giants right now, Pat, as winning the Eastern Division.
Well, I remember that's another game you'll see tomorrow. Important to Dallas there. Faint hope still alive. And Minnesota in that same boat. Bill Parcells, I remember saying to us early in the year, you know, I'm not sure about my team. I'm not sure how good they are. I think the doubts should be removed.
I think so, especially when he can beat the Redskins twice. You know, when he can beat them at home and then at their place. When he can do that thing, they should. Joe Gibbs knows he's going to be there. He wants to be peaking as he goes in. And with the injuries, it's going to be tough.
He needs to get a lot of people well. The Broncos 31, the Redskins 30. And now they shake hands. Dan Reeves and Joe Gibbs, good friends. Been a troubled week for Dan Reeves. What with the Clarence K situation? But nevertheless, they win by 1 over the Redskins, 31-30.
We've been together so long because we're always in perfect harmony. Our favorite wine cooler, Sun Country. Our favorite flavor, tropical.
It is. I thought it was peach.
No, it's cherry.
What about orange?
Well, don't forget the original citrus.
Sun Country Cooler in 5 flavors and 3 sizes, including the 2-liter party size.
So we don't agree about everything except the great taste of Sun Country. We think it's the tops.
This is where we make the new 3M surgical clipper by Remington. Hospitals are now using this advanced product, replacing blades, to shave patients for surgery safely and comfortably. You can also benefit from Remington's advanced technology. This charger stand keeps the Remington microscreen rechargeable continually charged. It never needs a cord, and it shaves as close as a blade, or your money back. And the Lady Remington rechargeable also shaves without a cord.
Now, lowest price ever on Remington microscreen cord shaver.
That's the final score, 31-30. Broncos win it by 1. Let's go down to the field and Irv Cross.
I tell you, the happiest guy in the stadium, I guess. John, you know, looked like you played 2 different ball games. In the first half, you couldn't get it going. You came back strong in the second half. What kind of adjustments did you make?
Well, I think we just came out a little more, got after it the second half. We kind of came out sluggish in the first half, and we've been struggling even last week. And into the first half of this game, we kind of made up our minds that we're going to come out and play well. And I tell you what, the front 5 did a great job protecting me, and the receivers caught the ball for me. So it was a great team effort in that second half.
All right, congratulations, big guy.
Thanks, Irv.
Pat.
All right, Irv, thank you very much. The playoff picture clarifies itself a little bit more. There's still a lot of questions to be answered. Many of them tomorrow here on CBS, as most of you will see the 49ers at New England. The final score here is Denver 31, Washington 30. Tomorrow on the NFL Today, Irv Cross takes a look at the New England Patriots and how they pulled through their